Chapter 71, Untitled Duck, I Hate You, Dad. Wei Yu's eyes filled with tears as she sobbed and closed the comic book. She used to look up to magical girls, dreaming of transforming into one and defeating monsters in her dreams. In the past, magical girls represented light and hope in her heart. However, the magical girls in her dad's comic brought her fear and despair. Lately, instead of having pleasant dreams about magical girls, she dreamt of countless twisted dad monsters attacking her from all directions, causing her to sleep poorly at night. Even though she had said after the third chapter that she wouldn't read her dad's magical girl comic anymore, she found herself even more curious about what would happen next. She wanted to know if her favorite character, Madoka, would really become a magical girl. People are naturally curious. It's both a great gift and a significant weakness. Some people are scared of horror movies but still force themselves to watch them. Some people, despite being warned of danger, are driven by curiosity to explore those very places. Wei Yu was the same. Her fear and curiosity about magical girl Madoka grew stronger. Deep down, children who admire magical girls are dreamers who yearn for beauty and goodness. So, she still held on to a bit of hope for magical girl Madoka, thinking there were many more stories to be told and that maybe the senior could be revived. However, upon reaching the 7th chapter, although some things were too complex for her to understand, she realized that death was necessary to become a magical girl and that the gem-like object was the true essence of a magical girl. How scary! And she angrily glared at the cute, rabbit-like creature on the cover. It was this thing that caused Sayaka's death. Ugh, I hate rabbits the most now. Wei Yu completely forgot how much she used to love bunnies. So, she stomped out of her room in her little slippers and shouted, "Dad, I want to eat rabbit tomorrow." Yes, she wanted to eat rabbits. Eat all these nasty rabbits. Ren, lounging downstairs with his legs crossed, was bewildered by Wei Yu's outburst. Didn't she used to love rabbits? And she cried so much the last time they had rabbit meat that he hadn't cooked it since. Now, she was demanding rabbit meat? Well, liking to eat rabbit is a form of liking, right? Following trends is common. Whenever a work becomes popular, many people quickly imitate its style. Although Ren's abstract portrayal of the witch's barrier was hard to replicate, anyone could copy the decapitation scene. So, a bunch of authors started following Ren's magical girl Madoka. The style suddenly shifted, with scenes of decapitations, dismemberments, tentacles, and human pigs, turning the genre into a bloodbath. Accidentally, Ren led a trend, causing many children who enjoyed magical girl stories to suffer. Their dreams of magical girls were shattered, giving them heavy psychological burdens. This led to a surge in parental complaints. A wave of reforms swept through the industry. Many works were banned. But when the storm passed, people realized that the source of it, la magical girl Madoka, remained unaffected. Of course, I didn't draw any bloody scenes. Ren shrugged in his studio. Although his comics scared many children, there was no blood in the panels. The only hint of blood was when the ribbons binding Homura fell into her palm, resembling blood flowing through her fingers. But that was just a hint. Even when the witch ate the senior's body, the scene was minimized so it couldn't be seen clearly. So, his work had nothing to do with gore or violence. There were two reasons for this. First, it was the first time people saw a magical girl story with deaths, leaving a strong impression. Second, his art style, the abstract portrayal, gave a unique visual impact, creating a creepy visual experience. Ren drew these scenes himself, using his system-given abilities. He didn't let Claire touch them, knowing only he could create this style. Those who copied only the decapitations and violence learned nothing substantial. By the way, how's Cooking Master Boy doing? Ren suddenly asked. He had been busy lately, not just with drawing Madoka, but also checking on Gyu and Company. He hadn't kept up with other works. Oh, Leon has appeared, Jazz immediately replied. While Madoka reached this point, Cooking Master Boy was also at a climax. The famous 7-star knife Leon had made a stunning entrance. Just as Cooking Master Boy was carefully dissecting a cow, Leon appeared and finished the job with incredible speed. With just a few cuts, the entire cow was neatly disassembled without spilling a drop of blood. Moreover, Readers initially thought Leon would join the protagonist's team since he was a special guest of Master Shikan. But who knew, Leon had changed. He came not to visit but to seize the legendary cooking utensils. Cooking Master Boy naturally refused, so Leon proposed a knife skills duel at Daxian Temple, with a giant sea bream as the theme. Using the 7-star knife, Leon displayed exquisite skills and completed 2 dishes in succession, while Cooking Master Boy did nothing after using wire to descale the fish. Soon, Master Xi appeared with a knife as soft as an iron sheet, known as the 100-hole knife, a rare tool from the dark culinary world. Seeing these strange cooking utensils and impressive knife skills, all Cooking Master Boy readers were thrilled, in stark contrast to the magical girl Madoka readers. Chapter 72. He who fights dragons becomes a dragon. A new week. Daniel sat down with the comic book he had just bought after work. He noticed the signal light on his phone flashing incessantly. He opened his phone without hesitation. One look and he was shocked. Wow, the group chat had over 99 plus messages. As soon as he clicked in, his phone seemed to freeze for a moment. Whoa. Whoa. This episode is really something. It's about the moment a girl becomes a woman. I really want to slide tackle the porter, that jerk. How am I supposed to watch other magical girl stories now? Don't even mention it. My brain feels like it's burning. After this episode, I suddenly think the senior's early death might have been a relief. If she had known the truth, she might have been even more despairing than Sayaka. I feel like this story is all about despair, except for the first 2 chapters. After skimming through the group messages, Daniel turned off his phone. He hated spoilers the most, and these guys might spill the beans any moment now. But just glancing at a few messages made him even more curious about the new chapter. Why did they say it was about a girl becoming a woman? Would there be scenes like that? But this is a magical girl story, with kid protagonists. The porter wouldn't be that crazy, right? And why say the senior's early death was a relief? It seemed very tragic to die just when she was about to have a companion. And was Sayaka really that desperate? Thinking about chapter 7, she was somewhat, since she felt betrayed, but he thought living was better than dying. Curiosity piqued, Daniel opened the new chapter. Hope and despair go hand in hand. Her wish was to become a magical girl for the one she loves, but when that person was gone, the impact on Sayaka was immense. In the previous chapter, she ignored her body's injuries to kill witches, showing her inclination towards despair. In this new chapter, Sayaka's descent into darkness became more apparent. She even said something very cold to her best friend Madoka, who came to persuade her. Then you fight. I heard from Kyubi that you have more talent than anyone. If it's for my sake, stand with me. Of course not. Sayaka's voice turned icy. You wouldn't give up being human just out of sympathy. You can do anything, but you do nothing. In the story, Sayaka, the blue-haired girl, is depicted with a vivid personality. She's impulsive, kind-hearted, single-minded, and naive. But she always believed, using magical power for others is true justice. When her friend Hitumi snatched away the boy she had a crush on, her belief crumbled. Feeling inferior because her body was no longer human, Sayaka gave up competing with Hitumi and even regretted saving her. Her desire for her crush's love conflicted with her belief in helping others. Realizing she had once regretted saving her friend made her feel disgusted with herself. This pushed her back and forth on the edge of despair and darkness, leading her to say hurtful things to Madoka. Though running in the rain, crying, and regretting her harsh words to Madoka, it didn't take long for her to overhear 2 scumbags on the train bragging about playing with girls' feelings. This, for someone already on the brink of mental collapse, was too much. Initially, Kyoko and Sayaka were enemies. But with similar fates, Kyoko eventually saw Sayaka as a friend and stayed by her side in her despair. However, it was too late, because nothing matters anymore. Sayaka said slowly to Kyoko, who came to find her. In the end, what did I cherish? What should I protect? I can't figure out anything anymore. Sayaka took out her soul gem, which was once pure but now murky. I was so foolish. Sayaka's tears fell onto her soul gem. A sudden burst of energy blew the unprepared Kyoko away. The scene around them changed, becoming terrifying and eerie. It felt like a witch had arrived. Suddenly, Daniel remembered a message from the group chat, from girl to woman. No way. Daniel felt he understood something and turned the page. However, there was no scene of Siaka. Instead, it showed Kyubi standing on top of a tower crane. With a low voice, Kyubi spoke, "In this country, growing girls are called maidens, right? Then you, who will become witches, should be called magical girls." The scene ended there. At that moment, readers realized that the porter used Siaka's death in Chapter 8 to reveal why Kyubi was called the incubator and the truth about witches and magical girls. Magical girls' soul gems were actually the eggs incubated by Kyubi. Ultimately, these eggs would hatch into witches. It makes sense. It's logical. Daniel murmured. Suddenly, he thought of something even more horrifying. If magical girls equals witches, does that mean the witches Madoka and the others killed were once magical girls? Meaning, I kill myself? When soul gems become murky, they need to hunt witches and use grief seeds to purify the gems. But if there are no grief seeds or witches left, the soul gems cannot be purified, and magical girls will become new witches. It's an endless cycle. Like Russian dolls. He who fights dragons becomes a dragon? Wow, he thought the senior's death was the darkest moment, but then it turned out that becoming a magical girl was like dying. Now it revealed that magical girls would eventually become world-threatening witches. What's next? Would there be even darker revelations? At that moment, Kyubi's cute appearance turned into that of a demon in many readers' eyes. Chapter 73, Thoughts, 2-1. At home. Jada was putting on makeup at the vanity when she suddenly heard a deep sigh from Ren. She turned to look at him and asked, "What's wrong?" "Wei Yu has been ignoring me lately." As a father, Ren felt very upset. In the past, Wei Yu used to play magical girl games with him when she was resting. She would often ask him for hugs. But now, when she sees him, she just huffs, stomps her little slippers, and runs away quickly, as if he was some big bad monster. Oh, and she doesn't completely ignore him. Whenever she wants something, she'll sweetly call out "Daddy," but once he buys it, she acts like she doesn't know him anymore. It's been 2 weeks since he last got to pinch her soft little cheeks. Hearing Ren's words, Jada couldn't help but laugh. "Serves you right. You know, it's because of your magical girl Madoka that she's been so distressed. Do you know she calls you the big bad boss at her kindergarten now?" Ugh. Ren flopped onto the bed like a dead fish. "Jada, help me talk to her. You're her mom, she'll listen to you. At least let me pinch her cheeks sometimes. And recently, she's even locked up her snacks. I can't eat them anymore." Hearing this, Jada couldn't help but feel exasperated. So, in the end, he just wants to bully Wei Yu? "Stop bullying Wei Yu," Jada said irritably, turning her face, which was covered with seaweed green makeup, toward him. In the dim light, Jada looked even more sinister, making Ren jump in fright. After a while, Ren realized it was his wife. Then he turned over and stared at the ceiling. "I can't help it." Confucius teacher Wang Tsai once said, "If children aren't for playing, what's their purpose?" For example, snacks taste better when snatched from Wei Yu. It's like looking at the food in your bowl while eyeing the pot. "Oh? Do you also think the same about other women outside?" Jada's voice came, as she squinted at Ren. This made Ren sit up immediately, shaking his head vigorously with a survival instinct. "How could I? You are so beautiful, with such a great figure, and you earn so much. You are the most perfect woman in the world. No other woman compares to you. Marrying you is the greatest blessing of my life." "What about Xena?" Jada asked, her tone dangerous. "She is so beautiful, with a great figure, and she's a game company owner. Do you have thoughts about her?" "Of course not." Ren shook his head, got off the bed, walked to Jada, and held her face. This made Jada's makeup-covered face blush, and she slowly closed her eyes. And then a broken bar. Nothing happened. The room fell silent. "Why didn't you kiss me?" Jada glared at Ren. She had closed her eyes. Ren scratched his face awkwardly. "Your face is all green." "I couldn't bring myself to do it." There was no way his wife's green face made her look like a monster! Exclamation mark of 1/2 I diaresis 1/2 AO apostrophe A tilde F inverted exclamation mark of Z. Upon hearing this, Jada was furious. He was disgusted by her. Without saying a word, Jada grabbed Ren's face. "I'll make you kiss. I'll make you kiss." Wham wham wah. Ren could even feel Jada's tongue. After a while, Jada let go of Ren's face, snorted coldly, removed her makeup, and reapplied it. After all, it had wrinkled because of what had just happened. "Anyway, make sure you appease Wei Yu soon." Jada waved her hand and then walked out of the room. Ren touched his lips, which felt a bit swollen, and fell into deep thought. Indeed, this time Wei Yu seemed serious. Their usual Cold Wars never lasted this long. So, he needed to do something to make her happy. Snacks were out of the question. He had bought plenty recently, but she still hadn't forgiven him. In that case, yes. Since Magical Girl Madoka had made Wei Yu sad, he should find something else to divert her attention. Looking at the projects in the system this month, Ren immediately gave up. Magical Girl's site was even darker than Madoka, a work that was dark just for the sake of being dark. Goblin Slayer, definitely not for kids. Some content was not appropriate for children, so that was a no-go. Disgusted face panty viewing? Although he couldn't draw it, he could redeem it and watch it in his mind from time to time, and it wasn't expensive. So, after redeeming the work, Ren rubbed his chin with a grin. This expression is great. No. Quickly, Ren realized that he wasn't there to look at panties and disgusted faces. He was supposed to find something to attract Wei Yu's attention. Since there were no suitable comics, how about a game? After thinking for a while, Ren suddenly remembered a plan he had not yet implemented. A Pocket Copyrightman, also known as Pocket Monsters or Pocket Copyright Monday. But should he ask Jada to hire people? The capable ones were probably working at big companies, and hiring those without skills would be useless. Picker Comics was not big enough to handle both the film and game industries simultaneously. So, did he need to find a partner? Ren suddenly thought of something. That was Xena, who owned a game company. What if he collaborated with her on the Pocket Copyrightman project? This wasn't a bad idea. Although he wanted to do it alone, he had to consider the reality. With that thought, Ren took out his phone and dialed Xena's number. "Hey, how about making a game together?" There was silence on the other end, only the sound of breathing. "I don't think I can do that now." "Why? Is there a problem with your company?" Ren suddenly remembered the news he had seen about Xena's company failing several times recently, losing a lot of money. "Yeah." Xena's voice was low. "The old folks on the board kicked me out." Ren wasn't surprised. Sometimes, one wrong decision could lead to a company's downfall, let alone repeated failures. "But what about you now?" "Looking for a job." "Although the old folks kicked me out, I didn't sit idle these years. I took some people with me." "That's great." "What do you mean?" Xena was puzzled by Ren's words. "3 more years? You mean you want me to join your company?" Xena was stunned by Ren's suggestion over the phone. "Is your company planning to start a game company now?" Xena was a bit surprised. From what she knew, Ren's wife's company had just acquired a production company called Guiyuan not long ago. And now they want to start a game company? Aren't they afraid of biting off more than they can chew? No, not starting a game company. We're just opening a game department for now, to make a small game and recoup some costs first. Ren shook his head repeatedly. My wife's company is a bit tight on cash flow right now. After all, the acquisition had cost a lot of money. Next, they would need to produce Ultra Mantica once the suits and models were completed. Everyone knew that special effects were very costly. Although the reasons for Tsuburea's acquisition in the previous world were multifaceted, the lack of funds due to special effects production was one of the reasons. Even a big company like Tsuburea felt the financial pressure. How much more so for Jada's company? A small game? Xena nodded after hearing this but continued, "Okay, let me first see what kind of small game you're talking about. If I think it's feasible, I'll bring my team and join you." "Alright, let's meet at the secret cafe copyright at 3 p.m. tomorrow." "Okay, bye." After hanging up the phone, Ren fell into deep thought. Should he make the first version of the Pocket Copyrightman game pixelated like in the previous world? Pixel games weren't hard to make with today's technology, But were pixel games a bit outdated? Although pixel games still had a market and a loyal fan base, maybe it would be better to make it 3D modeled. How about making it an open world like Zelda? What is an open world? Open world games, also known as free roam games, are a type of game level design where players can roam freely in a virtual world and choose how and when to complete tasks. In the previous world, Ren had always thought that a Pocket-Copyrightman game would be more popular if it were open world. However, the huge cost and long production time were also issues. Picker Comics wanting to make such a game now was clearly a pipe dream. Wait a minute. Ren suddenly thought of a fun and easy to make game that could also build popularity for the Pocket-Copyrightman series. Just then, Jada walked in and asked curiously, "Who are you on the phone with just now?" It was Xena. Ren didn't hide it, nor was there a need to. "Here's what I'm thinking." Ren then explained his idea. "Do you have enough money? If not, ask me for more." Not worrying about failure, Jada asked a heartwarming question. "Do you have enough money?" "Don't worry." Ren smiled, wrapping his arms around Jada's waist from behind. The next afternoon, after a good sleep, Ren arrived at the secret cafe Copyright. He immediately saw Xena sitting in one of the seats. She saw him too and waved with a smile. After sitting down, Ren took out some sketches and a written proposal, handing them to Xena. These were things he had put a lot of effort into last night and this morning. Xena took what Ren handed over without thinking much, then shifted her gaze to the papers, examining them carefully. She then showed a surprised expression. "A card game?" "Yes, for now. Let's make a card game." Ren's card game wasn't the usual kind that relied on illustrations to lure players into spending money. It was a card game that had been hugely popular at Three Kingdoms Kill. Of course, Ren turned it into Pocket-Copyrightman Kill. That's right, Pocket-Copyrightman Kill. After all, Pocket-Copyrightman was the phonetic translation of pocket monsters in the previous world. Names like Pet Little Monsters or Magical Babies sounded more familiar than Pocket-Copyrightman. In his plan, this Pocket-Copyrightman Kill was just like the Three Kingdoms Kill in the previous world. In the game, there were 4 roles: Rocket Boss, Alliance Investigator, Rocket Grunt, and Undercover, who developed inappropriate thoughts after 3 years. The task of the Rocket Boss and Rocket Grunt was to eliminate the Alliance Investigator and the Undercover. The Alliance Investigator's task was to destroy the Rocket team. The Undercover had to eliminate everyone except the Rocket Boss, including other undercover agents. At the start of the game, each player would randomly draw a role card. The player who drew the Rocket Boss had to reveal their role. The other players' role cards remained hidden. Ren also replaced some of the cards inside. For example, he replaced the Three Kingdoms characters with Pocket-Copyrightman. Basic cards were also renamed. For example, he replaced Kill with Go, Dodge with Quick Dodge, Beach with Revival Herb, Duel with Pocket-Copyrightman Battle, Snatch with Thief. As for equipment cards, just replace them with items from the game. See? The vibe is there, right? And the development cost for this game wouldn't be high, mainly the artwork. But who was he? In this world, he was known for his drawing style. He could easily draw exquisite illustrations. Then he could get his assistants to help. No need to release hundreds of cards at once. Releasing them gradually could also extend the game's lifespan. Using this game as a foundation, he could attract a fan base, gather funds, and then develop an open-world version of Pocket-Copyrightman or other game types, like a MOBA version. Moreover, what was the main thing about Pocket-Copyrightman? The merchandise. Cute little figures, Pocket-Copyright balls, etc., could all be made. They could even hold Pocket-Copyrightman battles in the future, allowing people to compete and further expand the popularity. Of course, the most important thing was for his Wei. Then he could release the card game and let her take it to school to show off to her classmates. After all, besides entertainment and competition, Pocket-Copyrightman Kill, like other tabletop games, was a healthy game. Players didn't have to sit in front of a monitor for hours like with computer games. A game of Pocket Copyright Man Kill could take 30 to 40 minutes or as little as 10 minutes. It's relaxed and perfect for a break. This way, his daughter's eyes would be protected to some extent, as she loved staring at her phone. And it could also ease the awkwardness between him and Wei Yu caused by the magical girl story. It's a win-win. He's truly a genius. Chapter 74, Looking Ahead, 2-1. Although Xena liked Ren's work, she didn't have high expectations for the new game proposal Ren had mentioned. After all, Ren's talent lay in creating comics, but games and comics were on two different levels. Even though some comics had been adapted into games, the connection usually only extended to the storyline. Despite her previous games failing, Xena had been running a game company for many years, and it wasn't easy to impress her with a proposal. However, after flipping through a few pages, the casual smile on Xena's face disappeared, and she slowed down her reading. Ren noticed Xena reading slowly but didn't rush her. He quietly sipped his coffee from the table. A broken bar a bit bitter. He still preferred the instant coffee powders, like Nestle Copyright Coffee. But honestly, even if you're confident, waiting a long time for someone's response can be boring. After a long while, Xena put down the game proposal. This is a very good game proposal. The gameplay is very innovative, Xena said with amazement in her voice. Just by looking at this proposal, I can see that the game's entertainment and competitiveness will be very successful. The gameplay is simple and easy to learn, making it a low-threshold game. New players can quickly grasp the basic rules and enjoy the different skills and strategies the various Pocket Copyright Men offer, bringing unexpected surprises to them. And the monetization models can also mimic those currently on the market. For example, changing skins for the Pocket Copyright Man cards and occasionally releasing limited edition cards. So, what do you think? Ren asked Xena. The reason he wanted Xena to join their company wasn't just because she had a complete team, but also because she had successfully developed an open-world game before. She had rich experience in this area. So, given her experience, Ren wasn't going to miss this opportunity. I have a question for you. But Xena didn't answer Ren's question directly and instead asked, you probably don't intend to make this game just a card game, right? What do you mean by evolution? You know about evolution. In this world, although there were pet-type comics, the concept of evolution didn't exist. But Xena mentioned this concept a broken bar. Could she be a time traveler? Earlier, when I was chatting with Wei Yu, she praised you like a flower. Remembering the little girl's exaggerated words, Xena couldn't help but laugh. She said you promised to build her a big theme park in the future and mentioned something about Pikachu evolving into Riku. Pikachu is this character in your proposal, right? So, what does evolution mean? Evolution, huh? Hearing Xena's question, Ren asked the waiter for paper and a pen, and drew a picture of Pikachu a Riku, explaining, you see, the initial form is a cute electric mouse. Then, after reaching a certain level, it evolves into the next form, this chubbier mouse. If I had to compare, it's similar to my magical girl Madoka, where magical girl plus evolution equals witch. I see. Xena wasn't dumb. After Ren's explanation, she immediately understood. Interesting. Can you tell me about your future plans? A broken bar, huh? What do you mean? I won't reveal my future plans until you become one of us. Ren shook his head. He wasn't dumb either. You never really know someone's true intentions. If he revealed his future plans and Xena didn't agree to join, she could easily use her team to execute his ideas. Pocket Copyright Man Kill was the bait. The future plans were the main course. I'm in. Xena wasn't offended by Ren's words. It was a normal thing, after all. Friendships were friendships. But she added, however, I need to clarify one thing. What is it? I represent not just myself but a team of over 32 people. They were all part of my original game team, and they're all expecting me to find a good place for them. Every member's skill level is above the industry average, and the least experienced has worked at my original company for 2 years. Of course, my wife's Picker Comics is very eager for your team to join. This initial contact didn't cover all specifics, and Ren wasn't skilled in this area, so he didn't overcommit. You can discuss the details with my wife later. I can guarantee that your team's compensation won't be lower than at your previous company. That's good. Xena knew this was normal. Although he didn't guarantee her compensation, ensuring her team's compensation was enough. She was quite satisfied, stood up, and extended her hand. I look forward to our future collaboration. Ren also stood up. All right. They shook hands. Goodbye. With that, Xena paid the bill and left. As an experienced professional, Xena knew that while her team had technical and organizational advantages, they weren't unique. There were many other game professionals in the world. If Picker Comics was willing to spend money, they could hire experts from other companies. Picker Comics needed professional talent to set up a game department, and her team needed new job opportunities. This was a mutual choice. Picker Comics could indeed hire more specialized talent, but such talent usually demanded more money. Why would they leave their current positions otherwise? Helping her team secure new jobs immediately after leaving their old company would stabilize the team and provide room for salary negotiations. Xena left the cafe copyright in a hurry to discuss the details with her team. Ren, meanwhile, called Jada. Jada, it's almost settled. You can discuss the details with Xena, okay? Come on, Jada. You know I love you the most. I have no feelings for Xena. Don't you believe me? It was just the end of the month. Xena was appointed as the game production director by Jada. As for Xena's team, although a few people left the team and went elsewhere after resigning, Xena's entire production team basically transferred to Picker Comics, including Xena. A total of dozens of game production professionals signed with Picker Comics. Of course, with the purchase of Guiyu & Company's Ultramantiga filming rights and the need to invest in game production and pay the salaries of these new members, Picker Comics funds became even tighter. For the near future, Picker Comics won't be expanding any further, Jada said, while lying on the bed as Ren massaged her legs beside her. So, don't go pulling over any team just because some pretty girl got fired somewhere. I can't afford to pay them. Am I hiring people just because they're pretty? Ren protested. It's about stocking up on professional talent for the company. Besides, I'm planning to make the Poke copyright man IP big and strong. One day, you might even see Pikachu as the Olympic mascot. Hey, Jada laughed, clearly not believing what Ren was saying. The next day, Ren visited Picker Comics after a long time. Entering the large office of the game department, he found Xena and asked, "How are the arrangements coming along?" Xena smiled and said, "Everyone's in place. The equipment will arrive soon. We'll run tests and adjustments this week. We'll be fully operational very soon." With the new company, they wanted to quickly prove they weren't just a bunch of failures and bring profitability to the company. However, Xena had something more important in mind and eagerly asked, "Can you tell me now about the plan you mentioned earlier?" "Oh, right. I remember," Ren said, suddenly recalling the promise he made to tell Xena about his plans once she joined. "I'm planning to make an open-world game," Ren started to say but was interrupted by Xena. "But an open-world game requires a lot of money and time." "I know." Ren waved his hand. "That's the final task. There are two preliminary plans. One is a Poke copyright man-themed project you've seen, and the other is to make it into an RPG game. Of course, before this RPG comes out, I'll create a manga or an anime to boost the game's popularity." With the existence of both the Poke copyright man project and the manga, the game will get significant promotion. Even though he hadn't drawn the works, he remembered the basic routines and classic plots. Patching them together would form a finished product. "Is that so?" "You seem very confident in this project," Xena remarked, impressed by Ren's confidence. From Ren's words, Xena could sense his high regard for the project named Poke Copyright Monday. He was thinking so far ahead, planning both a manga and an anime before the game even started production. "That's right," Ren said. "In this world, concepts like evolution and capturing Poke Copyright Man were quite novel. Let me tell you about the setting. This game's world is filled with various Poke Copyright Monday. When people reach a certain age, they receive a red and white item called a Poke Copyright Ball and a starting Poke Copyright Man. then embark on an adventure. A Pocket copyright ball? Xeno asked. When Pocket copyrightmen are captured, they are stored in the Pocket copyright ball. It's like those spatial rings in web novels where weapons are stored. In the Pocket copyrightman world, Pocket copyrightmen are like the trainer's weapons. They're usually kept in the ball and brought out when needed. I see. Xena's eyes lit up. Her designer's mind quickly visualized the concept and thought of more possibilities. So, players train and level up by battling with these Pocket copyrightmen. That's one way to put it, Ren replied. During their adventures, players encounter various wild Pocket copyright Monday. They use their captured Pocket copyrightmen to battle these wild ones. They can either defeat them to gain experience and level up their Pocket copyrightmen or weaken them and capture them with a Pocket copyright ball. And the battle system? Turn-based. As the game progresses, players can buy various skills from shops, like buffs and debuffs. But each Pocket copyrightman can only carry 4 skills at a time. That makes sense. It ensures fairness. Exactly. There are also special skills that can only be obtained through the storyline or player exploration. That increases playability. Xena nodded. Just a few words from Ren had piqued her interest in the world. He described. The storyline involves players challenging gyms. Gyms are on the way to challenging gyms. They encounter an evil organization, and players thwart this organization's schemes. So, are you planning to make this game for consoles or all platforms? Although the original game was for consoles and handheld devices, Ren wanted to release it on all platforms in this world: mobile, console, PC, etc. He planned to make the mobile game similar to Sword and Shield in 3D modeling, not like the pixelated leaf green. For profitability, he thought of something similar to Pokémon. Players could spend money on skins, like Cynthia's skin, Ash's skin, or Pocket copyrightman skins like Pikachu with a hat or Surfing Pikachu. They could even collaborate with other IPs in the future. Cooking Master Boy as a trainer, Magical Girl Pikachu. There were plenty of ways to make money. These could also lead to various merchandise. Don't think it won't make money. Just look at games like League of Legends and Azur Lane in the past life. Skins alone brought huge profits. Players could also battle each other with a certain number of battles per day. Although there would be a cooldown time, impatient players could buy tickets to battle immediately. Of course, they wouldn't introduce any items that would break the game's balance. So, what do you think? Any difficulties? Ren asked Xena. After all, this was just his idea. The actual execution depended on the professionals. He didn't understand game development. He could only propose the concept. No major issues, but the budget the boss allocated isn't enough for the RPG version right now. That's fine. I don't expect you to make it now. Focus on completing the Pocket copyrightman themed project first, Ren said. Chapter 75, The Source of All Evil. Kyuubi. Clicking into the 9th episode of Madoka Magica, many people's attitudes had completely changed. At the end of the 8th episode, the porter used Saya's transformation into a witch to reveal a brutal truth to everyone watching the show. The witches were actually transformed from magical girls. So, how would the story unfold next? This question had kept many readers in suspense for a week. In this new episode, the reason behind Kyuubi's actions was revealed. The early part of the episode explained what entropy is and revealed Kyuubi's species. It turns out that Kyuubi, whose species is known as incubators, is a race devoid of emotions except for a few individuals. They possess the technology to convert emotions into energy, in order to meet the energy consumption needs of countless species in the universe and prevent the universe from falling into a state of heat death. They searched for energy sources. They discovered that energy converted from human emotions could surpass entropy, so they decided to sacrifice a small portion of human individuals to provide energy for the entire universe. They made contracts with girls who had potential, granting their wishes and turning them into magical girls. When their souls, contained in soul gems, were exhausted and transformed into grief seeds. A vast amount of energy was released. Kyuubi's job was to trigger and collect this energy to meet the energy consumption needs of countless species in the universe. Yes, this is the cruel and cold truth about magical girls and witches. In fact, for the entire universe, this might be the best choice. If one day, humanity discovered that their race was on the brink of extinction but found a way to save themselves by sacrificing a small portion of another race, would humanity do it? They probably would, right? It's similar to what Ren saw in Avengers in his previous life. The choice Thanos made and the choice of the incubators in Puella Magi Madoka Magica are very similar. Both sacrificed a part of the population for the sake of the entire universe. Of course, this is from a godlike perspective, but if you put yourself in the shoes of those being sacrificed, it is too cruel for them. To be honest, I think Kyuubi's choice isn't wrong, right? If it were us humans, we'd probably do the same. Shut up. Really acting all saintly? Hee, saintly jerk. Kyuubi is the most disgusting creature in the world. Although there were similar comments online, they were quickly drowned out by other comments. By now, no one liked creatures like Kyuubi anymore. However, the angry readers found a glimmer of hope in the following plot. Kyuko, who had targeted the seniors' territory, was a magical girl from another city. Most of the time, she was eating and indifferent to the surrounding victims, a selfish person. At first, her relationship with Saya was like fire and water, but she actually had the deepest feelings for Saya. Although their ideologies didn't align, Saya believed in selflessness, while Kyuko was a selfish person. But looking at it from another angle, Kyuko believed that using magic on others would bring misfortune to them. If she only used magic for herself, she would bear the misfortune alone. Isn't that also a form of selflessness? Maybe if we cut the witch in half, the thing that rolls out won't be a grief seed but Saya's soul gem. Kyuko's serious gaze at Madoka made the readers excited. Even though Kyuubi had said, there is no precedent for a witch turning back into a magical girl, Kyuko didn't give up any hope and took Madoka to Saya's witch barrier, hoping that Madoka's voice could wake Saya up. Although many readers felt that the dog author, the porter, was unlikely to revive Saya, maybe, just maybe, many stories follow this pattern, right? The protagonist chooses their love and courage to call back the deceased, the memory lost, and the controlled person. Maybe this plot would follow that pattern too? Even though the trope is old, for the first time, readers hoped it would appear in this story. Because this story had been full of despair from start to finish, the readers hoped for a miracle. Unfortunately, a miracle was just a dream. No matter how hard Kyuko and Madoka tried, they couldn't wake Saya. Moreover, something happened that made many readers curse the dog author. Don't worry, Saya. Being alone is lonely, right? It's okay, I'll accompany you, Saya. In utter despair, Kyuko chose to accompany Saya on her final journey. With a boom, Kyuko activated her hidden energy source and perished alongside Saya, who had turned into a witch. Though she didn't save Saya, dying together was another form of happiness, right? Of course, the story didn't end there. At Homura's house, Homura confronted Kyuubi, asking why it didn't stop Kyuko from trying the impossible task of reviving Saya. What Kyuubi said next made the readers even more furious. If it were a pointless sacrifice, I would have stopped it. But her exit is significant. Now, you're the only magical girl left to face the Walpurgisnacht. Of course, one person has no chance of winning. To protect this city, Madoka must become a magical girl. Yes, this was Kyuubi's cunning plan all along. It had always hoped for one thing, for Madoka to become a magical girl. This concluded the episode's plot. Discussions about magical girls dominated the forums. Damn the porter. He killed my Kyuko. I finally understand, Kyuubi is the porter, right? Damn author. Looking back, a few weeks ago I didn't think much of this work, but now I see, I was too naive. Glancing through, many comments were cursing the porter, or wishing Kyuko well, hoping she and Saya could be together. At the same time, trending searches included 100 ways to cook rabbit and porter, the sister-abusing demon, and so on. This created a strange phenomenon online. The comment section was filled with damn author, trash manga, trash author, what is this nonsense?" and similar comments. Yet, the work's rating was astonishingly high, reaching a score of 9.1, which intrigued many curious people to buy Picker Comics to find out why the ratings and comments were so polarized. Chapter 76, The Upcoming Conclusion. Whoa, this episode is amazing. I feel like this series might become legendary. I always thought Saya's story was the most despairing, but it turns out Homura is the one in the deepest despair. Damn, I felt like crying when I saw Homura's story. In a certain anime group, fans were endlessly discussing the new plot of Madoka Magica. This episode completely revealed Homura's true identity. In this episode, the readers saw the porter use flashbacks to tell Homura's story. This story was the true beginning of everything. The previous story had Madoka as the observer, but in the original world, it was Homura who was the observer, and the one she was watching was Madoka, who had become a magical girl. Although the series is called Madoka Magica, the question of why Madoka hadn't become a magical girl until now was finally answered. She was originally a magical girl. Homura used to be a completely timid girl, but under Madoka's influence, she quickly overcame her inferiority complex. To change Madoka's fate of dying, she transformed from the one being helped to the one offering help. She wished to go back a month in time to change history. Thus, she gained the ability to control time and travel through parallel universes. Through countless cycles, she matured, becoming outwardly cold and unfeeling, but remaining kind at heart. "I promised I will definitely save you. No matter how many times it takes, I will protect you." This was the promise Homura made to another Madoka. She untied her braids, and readers watched as a shy, timid girl grew into a cool, long-haired beauty. She used her magical girl abilities to jump out of the world, constantly traveling, constantly repeating everything. Once, 100 times, in countless cycles. How many times did she repeat? How many times did she go through the same time? And each time, the result was the same. She couldn't save Madoka. If it were an ordinary person, they would have probably collapsed in despair, right? But Homura didn't. Because of that promise, she kept experiencing the seemingly predetermined ending for Madoka's sake. Over 100 cycles, spending decades stuck in 1 month, witnessing her dear friend Madoka's death hundreds of times, right in front of her, just to give Madoka a chance to be saved. This episode's introduction of time travel enriched Homura's character and elevated the series to a new level, turning the plot's conflict into a deeper reflection and exploration of the source of tragedy. Moreover, Picasso's Guernica and Van Gogh's Starry Night in reverse colors appeared in The Witch's Barrier in the 10th episode. This contrast with reality created a strong visual impact, making this abstract art deeply memorable for the readers. The plot and art style pushed the climax of Madoka Magica to new heights. It also sparked various speculations about Madoka's ending. Some believed that the final ending would definitely be Homura saving Madoka, as there should be a perfect ending after hundreds and thousands of cycles, right? Others thought that the porter, with his heartless perspective, might make a sudden 180-degree twist just as Homura was about to succeed, making her, like the previous magical girls, fall into despair just when hope seemed near. More people supported the second idea, causing those who initially supported the first to slowly change their minds. After all, considering what the porter had done before, it seemed plausible that he could give hope only to snatch it away at the last moment. Isn't this his malicious hobby? Over the next 2 weeks, Ren's Madoka Magica storyline fully unfolded before the audience's eyes. Saya's funeral was solemnly held in the rain. Kyubi appeared before a grieving Madoka, describing Saya and the others' deaths in a flat tone, which made Madoka furious. Unable to understand Madoka's emotions, Kyubi explained the history of the incubators and humans. At this point, readers realized that the incubators and magical girls had been intertwined throughout human civilization. For example, Cassandra, daughter of King Priam of Troy in Greek mythology, Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of ancient Egypt, Himiko, the queen of Yamatai during the Yayoi period, and Joan of Arc, the famous French heroine. They were all connected to the incubators. They initially held hope but eventually died in despair. From ancient times to the present, Magical girls had always shared the same fate, with none escaping the tragic end. Sigh. Even though this is just a story by the porter, seeing it illustrated like this makes me feel like there really were incubators and magical girls. Don't say that. I'm already thinking about not letting my daughter watch magical girl shows in the future. Dude, you don't even have a wife. Where's this daughter coming from? But Homura is so cool. I think so too. By the way, who do you think would win in a fight between Homura and the other magical girls? I think she'd win easily with her range advantage. While everyone was fascinated by the history described by Ren, they were also captivated by Homura's actions. The Walpurgisnacht finally made its much-anticipated appearance. However, this timeline was even worse than the previous ones, as Homura was the only magical girl left. Homura faced the Walpurgisnacht alone, using her time manipulation powers to create an overwhelming display of firepower. Unfortunately, no matter how brilliant and powerful Homura's attacks seemed, she still couldn't defeat the Walpurgisnacht. Not only that, but Homura was also severely injured by the witch. Just as Homura was about to rewind time again and erase this world, she remembered Kyubi's words. Continuing this way would only increase Madoka's karmic burden. If she couldn't defeat the Walpurgisnacht, Madoka would definitely become a magical girl. Realizing this, Homura's once steadfast heart began to waver in despair, and her soul gem rapidly darkened. Seeing Homura in such despair, readers felt even more anxious. After countless cycles and repetitions, Homura had always been trying to save Madoka. She had witnessed Madoka's death hundreds of times but never wavered. But in this timeline, she realized that all those cycles had only deepened Madoka's karmic ties, making it even harder to save her. Anyone would find this truth unbearable, right? Chapter 77, Scattering Flowers. But just as Homura's soul gem was about to be completely tainted and she was about to turn into a witch, bringing everything to a true end, someone appeared. Enough. The person Homura had always wanted to protect, Madoka, stepped into the dangerous battlefield, held Homura's hand, and spoke in a gentle voice. And beside her was the loathsome white devil Kyubi. Homura, I'm sorry, Madoka said to Homura with a guilty yet gentle smile. Yes, after talking with Homura, Madoka had finally decided to become a magical girl herself, and to become a magical girl, she needed to make a contract with Kyubi, and this contract involved making a wish. So, what wish would Madoka make? Would she wish to eliminate the Walpurgisnacht? Or would she wish to bring her old friends back to life and defeat the Walpurgisnacht together? However, Madoka's wish shocked everyone, because her wish seemed like a daydream to everyone. I wish for all witches to disappear before they are born. I will destroy every witch in the past, present, and future of the entire universe with my own hands. That was Madoka's wish. If such a wish were granted, it would not only interfere with time like Homura did but also rebel against causality. The fate of magical girls turning into witches is a matter of causality. But Madoka's wish transcended the world, the universe, time, laws, and even causality. She wanted to become a god. Even Kyubi was stunned by Madoka's wish. Whether I become a god or whatever, it doesn't matter. Up to now, all the magical girls fighting against witches, holding hope in their hearts, I don't want them to cry. I want everyone to smile until the end. I'll break and rewrite all the rules that stand in the way. This is my wish, my hope. A gentle smile appeared on Madoka's face. With those words, a strong light enveloped her, and it seemed she was truly about to transform into a god through her wish. Madoka shot a pink arrow into the sky, and this arrow split into countless parts, reaching the moment when every magical girl in the past, present, and future of all parallel timelines was about to turn into a witch. However, a wish that defied the laws of the universe had its limits. Everyone would forget about Madoka's existence, including her parents, friends, and even the wicked Kyubi. Except Homura. Only she would remember all that Madoka did for the world. The two girls who had intertwined through countless parallel timelines, the best friends, one became as god and the other remained human. Was this Madoka's fate? Many readers couldn't bear it but felt confused. If she had this power, Why didn't Kyubi make the first magical girl wish for something like this? Yeah, are the incubators that dumb? Maybe Madoka is a special case. Someone answered. Madoka had an exceptionally strong potential as a magical girl, and Homura's hundreds of cycles added to her strength. While it pushed Madoka further away from Homura, these cycles built up Madoka's power, allowing her wish to come true. In the original world before Homura's time travel, Madoka probably couldn't have achieved her goal. But what made readers even more upset was what followed. Even though Madoka made a world without witches, and magical girls no longer had to face such despair, the world still had its dangers. There were no more witches, but there were now wraiths. In the last scene of episode 12, Homura continued to protect this hopeless world filled with sadness and hatred, because it was the world her beloved Madoka wanted to protect. The final image of Homura fighting the new enemy wraiths alone, with Kyubi by her side, left readers with endless thoughts. This 12-episode Magical Girl series, with its ups and downs, created a vast and rich world that left people with much to reflect on. Scattering flowers for the end. Wow, I love Goddess Madoka. I didn't like Hyuri before, but now I really want to see Madoka and Homura get married. Damn, the last episode made me cry. This plot is so heart-wrenching. That damn Porter, he made two people who love each other be separated like gods and humans. It's even worse than the Queen Mother of the West. Yeah, at least the Queen Mother let the cowherd and weaver girl meet once a year. If it's like a day in the heavens being a year on Earth, maybe they met every day. Come on, it's not too bad. The author at least revived the senior and Kyoko. That's a bit humane. Begging for a perfect ending side story with Madoka and Homura. +1. +10,086. Best manga of the year. The peak of magical girl stories. I don't think anyone will argue with that. At this moment, countless people praised this work. As a manga critic, Daniel wrote his own review. Many say this work is full of despair, but when you think about real life, it's not hard to see that people's fates are just as magical. No matter how you choose, you'll end up with regrets. Sometimes, even when we prepare ourselves mentally, events still spiral out of our control, hurting ourselves and others. Even if we make choices without regrets at the time, looking back, we realize we missed some experiences and sights. A broken bar. This work is definitely a masterpiece. It redefines the magical girl genre. Instead of a story of hope, this story of despair has touched readers more deeply. The plot twist in the third episode established what I call the 3-episode rule. From that point on, what started as a fairy tale full of fantasy turned into a tale of despair, repeatedly challenging our understanding with its subversive worldview. Our broken bar. Of course, all the above is just nonsense. I just want to tell the Porter, the damn author, to hurry up and release a side story where Madoka and Homura end up together. Otherwise, I'm sending a knife in the mail. With this review, more and more people wanted Ren to release a side story. A broken bar. At home, Claire looked at Ren with her big, watery eyes. Teacher, can't you make a side story? It's so heart-wrenching. Hearing this, the others perked up their ears. After all, they really loved this series that redefined the magical girl genre. Maybe in the future, Ren thought and said. After all, there was a sequel about Homura, but he hadn't drawn it yet. Chapter 78. You guys are so bad. I don't want to play with you anymore. The conclusion of Madoka Magica solidified Ren's position in the manga industry. He was now just a step away from becoming a third-tier celebrity. A few more new works or having his works adapted into anime or winning awards could elevate him to that status. Ren was now known for many things, like Sister Killer Demon and rising star in the manga world. After all, Ren had only debuted this year, yet his works had gained significant attention. This year, he announced his presence with 3 works. The Magic Roundabout and the Madoka Magica had already ended and made a huge impact. Another work, Cooking Master Boy, was still ongoing, and even though Ren was no longer the artist, he provided the script. So many people called him a genius. But none of that mattered much to him now. A new day began, and Ren was still in bed when he felt a tickle on his face. He murmured, slowly opening his eyes. Little White, is that you? A dog's head appeared in Ren's view. its tongue licking his face. Woof! Seeing Ren wake up, Little White barked, wagging his tail vigorously. He jumped off the bed, picked up a leash from the floor, and circled around a few times before looking up at Ren and barking again, tongue out, seemingly expectant. "Wei, you didn't take you for a walk?" Seeing this, Ren realized what was going on. He scratched his head, got up, and decided to find Wei Yu. Having a dog means taking it for walks. When Little White first arrived, Wei Yu was diligent about walking him, but now, ever since she started learning dance, she seemed to have forgotten all about it. Not just the walks, but also the daily chores like cleaning and feeding Little White. Ren went to Wei Yu's room. She was still sleeping, so Ren patted her shoulder. "Wei Yu, wake up. Take Little White for a walk." Wei Yu frowned, covered her head, and burrowed deeper into the blankets, clearly intent on sleeping in. "Wei Yu, you promised to take good care of Little White, remember?" Ren's tone became stern. Honestly, whether Wei Yu took Little White for walks wasn't a big deal to Ren since he usually accompanied them anyway. But it's important to teach children to keep their promises. She had promised to take good care of Little White. How long had it been since she forgot? Just a little longer. Wei Yu grumbled, snuggling further into her blanket. Sighing, Ren looked down at Little White wagging his tail at his feet. "Looks like it's just you and me for the walk again." But he felt he should discuss this with Jada. Ren squatted down, attached the leash to Little White, and took him for a walk. During the walk, Ren received a phone call informing him to pick up the Poké Copyrightman Kill cards. Ren had made 2 versions of Poké Copyrightman Kill, one online and one as a tabletop game. Although the internet is highly developed, tabletop games still have a large market because they offer strong interaction. It's about the atmosphere. Like watching a movie, even though you can watch it online, many people prefer the cinema for the crowd, the atmosphere, and the big screen. Or like playing mahjong, there are apps for it, but during the new year, when family gathers to play, you don't see people sitting around playing on their phones. Obviously not. And physical cards make money. They wear out quickly and are cheap to make. Just think of how much money Three Kingdoms Kill made from physical cards. After picking up the new cards, Ren gathered his assistants and Wei Yu at home to play Poké Copyrightman Kill. Claire blinked her eyes. Poké Copyrightman Kill. Yeah. That's it. Ren took out the cards. He had them draw earlier. The cards you drew were for this game. It's our company's game, and besides the tabletop version, it's also available on PC and mobile. Let me explain the rules. In the game, there are 4 roles: Team Rocket Boss, Alliance Investigator, Team Rocket Grunt, and Undercover. The Team Rocket Boss and Grunts aim to eliminate the Alliance Investigators and the Undercover. The Alliance Investigators aim to destroy Team Rocket. The Undercover needs to eliminate everyone except the Team Rocket Boss, including other Undercover. Each player randomly draws a role card at the start. The player who draws the Team Rocket Boss reveals their identity. The other identities are kept secret. Then, each player takes health cards. The boss gets an extra health point. Everyone draws 4 cards as their starting hand. There are 6 phases each turn: preparation, judgment, draw, action, discard, and end. After explaining for about 5 minutes, Ren smiled. That's it for now. You'll understand more after a few rounds. Wei Yu, did you get it? Since Wei Yu was still young, Ren was a bit worried. I got it. Wei Yu was eager. She seemed to have completely forgotten about being upset with her dad earlier. Seeing her excitement, Ren smiled. See, he was smart. She had already forgotten about being mad at him. And now he could take the chance to show off his skills and tease his little girl. With this in mind, Ren's smile became more sinister. I want Pikachu. What? I want Pikachu. Even before starting, Wei Yu began whining. She was supposed to choose one Poké Copyrightman from 3 cards, but her luck seemed bad as she only drew cards like Muke, Beedrill, and Firo. The cute loving Wei Yu wouldn't accept this and threw a tantrum. Alright, you can have Pikachu. Being adults, they didn't mind giving her Pikachu. They thought, she's just a kid. How good could she be? They wouldn't lose to a little girl, right? Then they were flustered and overwhelmed. Ren was stunned. This wasn't right. He planned to use this chance to tease Wei Yu, but she beat him. The others were also stunned, watching Wei Yu clap her hands in victory. They gritted their teeth and continued playing. In the second round, Ren, as the boss, was taken down by Wei Yu, the undercover. In the third round, Wei Yu, as the boss, defeated both the undercover and the investigator. After 10 rounds, Wei Yu looked at them disdainfully. "You guys are so bad. I don't want to play with you anymore!" Chapter 79. The impact ferments. That evening, Ren posted a long-awaited update on Weibo. Picker Comics' latest game Poke-Copyrightman Kill will be released in 7 days. Use the voucher in the single-volume manga to enjoy a 10% discount when purchasing the physical tabletop game cards. Welcome to try it out. Pikachu.jpg. This news left many readers puzzled. Aren't you a manga company, or are you a game company now? I thought this was about a new manga, but it's just game promotion. Can you hurry up with Cooking Master Boy? Now that Madoka is finished, why don't you draw more chapters of Cooking Master Boy each week? This yellow mouse is so cute. My girlish heart is melting. Fans began urging for updates, but Ren ignored them. In 7 days, the system will refresh with new manga. He planned to use this game launch to boost his reputation and see if the new options were good. If all 3 were great works, he would redeem them. 7 days passed quickly. During this time, Jada's Picker Comics put in their best effort to promote Poke-Copyrightman Kill. The scale wasn't massive, as funds were tight, but they managed to get some key platform recommendations, advertised in their magazine, and arranged for some game media to write previews and soft articles. Having Xena was helpful. Otherwise, finding game media would have been difficult. Although the promotion wasn't as extensive as other games, it received considerable attention. Loyal readers of Your Name, Madoka Magica, and Cooking Master Boy, along with Picker Comics fans and those drawn by Pikachu's artwork, all downloaded the game. As the game downloads increased, so did the reviews on the official app. This game has great quality. As a loyal card game fan, I finally found a unique card mobile game. The game's mechanics impressed me. The roles like villain, boss, investigator are refreshing. Indeed, most card games nowadays are cash grabs, making players draw cards, mixing equipment and characters, and some even sneak fragments into the card packs. They really think players are fools? The artwork is fantastic. Just for this cute artwork, I'm sticking with this game. 5 stars. I came for the artwork too. Pikachu is so adorable. By the way, who voiced this Pikachu? I bought the physical cards. The card design is amazing, much better than playing on the phone. Physical cards are more fun. Picture.jpg. Whoa. There are shiny cards. I need to buy a set too. Hey, just asking quietly, if I buy these cards, will you play with me? If not, I won't buy them. Can't play alone. Meanwhile, at Picker Comics, everyone was monitoring the real-time data of the game. Seeing the download numbers and reviews, they were very satisfied. Even though the development team was experienced, the company was still relatively new. In just 2 hours after the release, having so many downloads and reviews was already quite good. They even saw people spending money in the game to buy card skins. In the subway, 2 boys were about to take the subway across the city to go home. A boy with glasses yawned, took out his phone, and opened Poke-Copyrightman Kill. Although he had just downloaded it today, playing it during class had hooked him with its beautiful artwork and innovative gameplay. If he had friends nearby, he would have probably bought the physical cards too. The other boy saw this and took out his phone. Hey, wanna play some MOBA? I'll help you reach gold. Ha! The boy glanced at him. Reach gold? I played with you because I thought you were diamond, but you used a boosting service and dragged me down to platinum. Come on, let's have fun. No thanks, I'm playing this now. What game? Is it fun? Poke-Copyrightman Kill is awesome. Want to play? Sure. Send it to me via Bluetooth. I don't have data. Alright, let's play together. At a university sports field. Sire broken bar. I chickened out again. A boy slowly sat on the steps, looking at a girl in a red jacket in the distance. and sighed. He had been noticing this girl for a long time. Through some channels, he found out that his classmate didn't have a boyfriend yet. He planned to confess to her, but whenever he tried to approach, he felt a heavy weight on him, making him retreat. Games are my only solace, he sighed, taking out his phone to play his latest obsession, a Pocket Tilde Copyrightman Kill. After finishing a game, he suddenly heard a voice. Huh? You play this too? The unexpected voice made the boy look up, his face turning red as he instinctively moved away. Because the voice belonged to the girl he liked. The girl didn't seem to notice his blushing. She leaned in, laughing. Want to play together? I've been hooked on this game lately. The artwork is so cute. She looked up at him, brushing her hair aside. The artwork is so good. I bought a set of cards. But not many people in our class play. My dorm needs one more person for a 3v3 game. Want to join? What's wrong? Is there something on my face? Ah, nothing. The boy quickly shook his head, suppressing his excitement. Let's play together. I've been wanting to try the physical cards too. He couldn't believe it. The girl he never dared to confess to actually approached him because of Pocket Tilde Copyrightman Kill. Now he could use the game as an excuse to chat with her and build a friendship. With time, their hearts would meet, sparking the flames of love. 3 days later, the boy walked alone, shaking his head. That girl was so bad at the game. It's better to play alone. Chapter 80, 3 New Works. As time passed, the player base for the game Pocket Tilde Copyrightman Kill kept growing. More and more people were playing it. Xena was overjoyed. She felt she had good judgment. She had initially thought Ren's Pocket Tilde Copyrightman Kill had a unique gameplay concept, so she brought her team on board, and the results did not disappoint her. Given the current popularity of the game, as long as it maintained its quality, its success could continue to rise. Thinking about the future games Ren had mentioned, Xena couldn't help but smile. For her, money wasn't a big deal. Even if she lost her job, she could go home and take over the family business, living comfortably with the money she had earned over the years. When she was ousted and took people with her, it was out of unwillingness to give up. She loved making games and didn't want to leave with a failure. Not only was Xena delighted, but Jada was also very happy. Though it had only been a little over half a month since the release, they had already made a considerable amount of money. The cost of producing the cards was low, but they sold them at a good price, earning a significant profit. This was just the beginning. What if more time passed? The profits would only grow. Jada couldn't help but look forward to Ren's Tokusatsu project. If it succeeded, selling related merchandise could bring in even more money. This way, they could continue developing the company. Someday, it could return to the scale it had under her parents, or even, perhaps it could rival the Big Five. Ren's reputation also grew due to the game's success. Seeing his increasing reputation points, Ren smiled. Because now he had enough points. He knew this month's 3 works were all very good. He wouldn't want to give up any of them. Without the game's influence, he might have had to give up one. The 3 works were Bleach, Rainbow Cat and Blue Rabbit 7 Nights, and Cardcaptor Sakura. Bleach was a well-known series, one of the big 3 alongside One Piece and Naruto. However, Bleach had the weakest ending among the big 3. Naruto was already complete in Ren's previous life. Despite some timeline issues and plot holes, the overall story was fine. One Piece was still ongoing when Ren transmigrated. Though it had some inconsistencies, like with Haki and Devil Fruits, the overall story was still enjoyable. But Bleach had many problems, from power scaling to plot inconsistencies and too many loose ends. Ren always felt Bleach should have ended after the Aizen arc. The later Fullbring and Thousand Year Blood War arcs felt like the author was just trying to milk the series. Of course, it wasn't all about milking. Kubo had made Aizen too powerful early on, so the later bosses had to be even stronger, causing further power scaling issues. However, Bleach had some excellent concepts, especially the Zanpakuto. Ren started watching Bleach because he was fascinated by the Zanpakuto's release commands. Scatter, Senbon-Zakura. With a simple command, Byakuya's sword split into thousands of tiny blades, slicing enemies from all directions. Wasn't that cool? Ren watched Bleach because of lines like that. So Ren planned to end Bleach after the Aizen arc. As for Cardcaptor Sakura, it was part of Ren's childhood, and Sakura was one of his childhood crushes. Who could forget the spell to release the Clow cards? Oki of Clow, Power of Magic, Power of Light, Surrender the Wand, The Force Ignites, Release, and the theme song, It's Alright, Daijubu, 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 Kaisuke Datokusoyo. When the series was popular, stalls outside schools sold Clow cards. Ren even bought quite a few back then. As for Rainbow Cat and Blue Rabbit 7 Nights, it was even more remarkable. When Ren was young, there were many great domestic animations. Rainbow Cat and Blue Rabbit 7 Nights, Lolo's Great Adventure, 3000 Whys of Blue Cat. Rainbow Cat and Blue Rabbit 7 Nights was Ren's favorite. Even now, remembering the plot, you'd find that the character development, plot setup, and fight choreography were better than most martial arts dramas. These 3 works were all fantastic, so Ren didn't want to give any of them up. Luckily, the game had brought him a wave of reputation, so he redeemed all 3 works without hesitation. Of course, some things had to change. Some works had clothing that was too Japanese. The Zanpei Kuto in Bleach would be changed from katanas to tang swords, and the clothing would be more like that of martial artists in Uchiha dramas. As for some of the Bankai releases, Ren felt they didn't need to change. Like Byakuya's Cherry Blossoms aren't exclusive to Japan. In fact, cherry blossoms were first cultivated in China. Historical records show that over 2,000 years ago, during the Qin and Han dynasties, cherry blossoms were already cultivated in Chinese gardens. By the Tang dynasty, cherry blossoms were common in private gardens. At that time, when various nations paid tribute to China, they took cherry blossoms back to their countries. So there was no need to change that. What needed changing were some everyday elements, like food and schools. Likewise, some daily settings in Cardcaptor Sakura would change, but nothing else needed altering. The biggest changes would be in Rainbow Cat and Blue Rabbit 7 Nights. In his previous life, Ren thought it would be great if the animal characters were human. Seeing fan art of human versions of the characters on the internet made him want it even more. Now he could finally make those changes. In the previous version, the story's location was identifiable, seemingly set in a certain part of China. Ren didn't want that, as it made the world feel small. He planned to expand the setting. Right. Ren's eyes lit up as he took out his phone and made a call. Jada, how about we tour the beautiful landscapes of our country for our honeymoon? Chapter 81, Your Name is Going to the Big Screen. A week quickly passed by. Since Ren redeemed the 3 works a week ago, he had been busy. He needed to draw the character designs and storyboards for Bleach and Cardcaptor Sakura to give to his assistants. As for Rainbow Cat and Blue Rabbit 7 Nights, since it was his favorite, he decided to draw it himself. After a busy week, he finally finished the drafts for these 2 works and gathered his assistants. When his assistants arrived, they all had smiles on their faces. They remembered that a similar event happened not long ago, where they each got the opportunity to draw a manga. Even though they didn't create the story, only doing the artwork, by constantly imitating, learning, and drawing, they could learn certain techniques and eventually come up with their own good plots. Felix squeezed next to Ren, smiling broadly. Teacher, is it a new manga? Is it the one you promised me? Previously, he was supposed to draw Ultraman Tiger, but Jada, who loved Ren dearly, bought a tokusatsu company to bring Ren's work to the screen. So, the Ultraman project was taken away, but his teacher promised to give him something good next time. No, Ren said coolly. Seeing Felix's hopeful face turn into disappointment, Ren handed him a storyboard and smiled. Just kidding. Here, this is for you. It's perfect for you. Felix looked up, surprised, and took the storyboard from Ren. The title caught his eye. Bleach. Look at that powerful name, Bleach. While Felix was looking at Bleach, Ren turned to Clara and Jazz. These are for you. You'll need to work hard, drawing both Cooking Master Boy and Cardcaptor Sakura. Cardcaptor. The three assistants' eyes widened in unison. Was their teacher planning another heart-wrenching series? The despair from Madoka Magica was still fresh in everyone's minds. Now there was Cardcaptor. Did their teacher have a grudge against the magical girl genre? A broken Baren looked at the horrified Rio and fell silent. Was his magical girl genre really that terrifying? It was a great story. Oh well, they don't understand my passion, Ren thought to himself. It's important for children to know about the world's darkness. I chose to create Madoka Magica to teach my daughter about the dark side of the world. This is all fatherly love. This is what they call fatherly love, as strong as a mountain. Clearing his throat, Ren tapped the table with his finger. It's not a tragedy. It's not Madoka Magica. It's Cardcaptor. This is not a sad story. Really? The three looked at Ren skeptically, not quite believing him. The storyboards and designs are all here. You'll see. After entrusting the two works to his assistants and students, Ren felt relieved. He planned to take a break and go on a trip with his wife and child as a belated honeymoon. Since they missed the wedding ceremony, they should enjoy the honeymoon. Ren even took some time off from Weiyu's kindergarten. Weekends alone wouldn't be enough time to enjoy it. Just as Ren was humming a song, waiting for tomorrow, his phone rang on the table. Ren glanced at the caller ID and quickly answered. Hey, honey, what's up? Our honeymoon might have to wait. Hearing Jada's words, Ren felt a bit flustered. What's going on? We were all set to go. How come it's not happening? I have some good news for you. Ren listened to Jada's words and was stunned. Honeymoon cancelled. Good news. Could it be broken? A smile slowly spread across Ren's face. What are you thinking? Not yet. Jada teased, making her secretary shiver and quickly leave the room. She had never heard her boss speak in such a tone. Love indeed changes people. Since her husband returned, the boss had been a different person. Jada continued, the animation movie project for your name has been approved. Ren, who was initially a bit disappointed, was now surprised. An animation movie? An animation movie refers to a film made using animation. If not strictly defined, even theatrical versions of series like Conan and One Piece could be considered part of the genre. But strictly speaking, an animation movie is a large-scale film made in the animation format, like Spirited Away, Millennium Actress, Havoc in Heaven, Lotus Lantern, and Frozen. Typically, a manga would first be adapted into an anime series based on market reaction before getting a movie adaptation. After all, animation movies are a big deal. Just like how movie directors often look down on TV series directors, they're on different levels. The revenue and fame an animation movie brings are immense. Ren thought that if the movie got made, he wouldn't even need to release new works. The reputation from the movie would be enough to exchange for his next set of works. That's great news, Ren said, smiling. In his previous life, Your Name was released as an animation movie. Ren had published it as a manga, and due to its short length, the story didn't fully shine in the manga format. Many elements that could only be showcased in an animation movie weren't conveyed in the manga. But I want to fight for the scriptwriting position. Writing an animation script is similar to writing a regular movie script but requires more detail. Live-action scripts often rely on real locations, so minor details like passing cars can be decided during filming. In animation, everything needs to be specified, since the drawings are static, and there can't be any uncertainties. The script helps animators understand the story's progression. After the storyboarding phase, different artists take on parts of the animation to create a cohesive piece. Chapter 82, The Agreement. The 2-inch-1. Ren wanted to be the scriptwriter for the animation because he feared the company adapting his work into an animated movie might mess up the script. Although Your Name wasn't originally his work and he had copied it, Ren had spent considerable time adapting it to remove the Japanese style. He had put effort into revising Your Name, so he naturally didn't want other scriptwriters to ruin it. Well, I can suggest it, but are you sure you can handle it? After all, writing an animation script is different from writing a manga. Hearing Jada's question, Ren replied confidently, don't worry, no problem. When the system gave him his abilities, it included everything related to drawing, including writing animation scripts. Alright. Jada was surprised by Ren's confident tone. If she didn't know Ren's background, she might have thought he was a scriptwriting master. However, she didn't doubt him. After all, this was her husband, and she trusted him completely. Plus, past experiences showed that Ren didn't take on challenges he wasn't prepared for. I'll suggest it then. Besides, this is a great learning opportunity, Jada teased. You can learn animation scriptwriting, and when I start an animation company, you can handle this part. Hey, are you trying to kill me with work? Ren said jokingly. I barely have enough time for my manga. Okay, talk to you later. Jada laughed and hung up. As Ren put down the phone, he felt the curious eyes of his assistants and students on him. They had heard the words animation script, which meant a broken bar. Their teacher's work was going to be animated. Teacher, which work is getting animated? Felix asked eagerly. Your name. Ren didn't hide it. Everyone started clapping. Even though they hadn't contributed to this work, they had all become Ren's assistants after reading it. As readers, seeing a favorite work being adapted into animation was the happiest thing ever. The next day, Ren and Jada visited the animation company. Soon, a staff member led them to a conference room. In the room, they met Leo, the person in charge of the animation movie project. Leo was a board member of the company, accompanied by two animation experts, showing the importance they placed on this collaboration. It made sense, given the substantial investment needed for an animated movie. Hello, Mr. Ren. I've heard a lot about you. Leo stood up, extending his hand with a smile. My sister has been well taken care of by you. Thanks to you, my niece found her biological parents. Your sister? The child's biological parents? Ren and Jada were confused by Leo's words. But then Ren had a realization. You mean a broken bar? Xena? Yes. Seeing Leo nod, Ren and Jada exchanged looks, filled with disbelief. This didn't make sense. If Xena had this kind of backing, why was she ousted from her company? And why would she end up working under someone else? Wasn't there a family company she could rely on? Haha, my sister has always been strong-willed and loves games. Leo, noticing their confusion, explained with a smile. As the youngest, the family indulged her a lot, secretly helping her. But as she got older and still hadn't married, the family became anxious. So, they used her recent failure as an opportunity to bring her back. I see. Ren and Jada nodded. Indeed, for many parents, whether their child can settle down is the most critical issue. However, Ren glanced at Leo. Despite his friendly appearance, Ren remembered the saying, kind-looking people can be deceptive. Did Leo play a part in Xena's repeated failures? Although Ren was tempted to ask, he restrained himself. After chatting for a while, they sat down to discuss the collaboration. Ren didn't understand much about the business side, so he listened to Jada and Leo talk. Most of the discussion revolved around profit, and after listening for a while, Ren understood why they wanted to collaborate. The recent festival brought significant revenue to Xena's family due to your name. It wasn't just during the festival. The shrine continued to attract many visitors daily. Tourist attractions are expensive, and adding your name merchandise would make them even pricier. So, Leo wanted official authorization to use your name characters for the shrine's merchandise. As the saying goes, fans spend a fortune on their favorite characters. Fans often spend generously on things related to their favorite characters. The discussion lasted a long time, with both sides trying to maximize their benefits. Ultimately, Leo's company secured the rights to use characters from your name. Of course, this was just the appetizer. The main focus was the animated movie. During negotiations between Jada and Leo, the final details were gradually settled. They reached an agreement. Leo's company would invest $70 million to produce the animated movie. Compared to some big-budget movies costing billions, $70 million wasn't much. But this was just the production cost. In Ren's previous world, Toho produced Your Name with 450 million yen, which is nearly 30 million. In this world, the budget was more than doubled. In addition, another 20 million was planned for marketing. The final profits would be split according to the agreement. This made Ren look at Leo a few more times. As long as there were no hidden costs, The production budget should result in a movie of much higher quality than the original Your Name. Just as Ren was surprised by the investment in the project, the conversation shifted to him. After all, he had mentioned his interest in being the scriptwriter for the animated version of Your Name. It wasn't that he wanted to write the script for every future animation adaptation of his works. The main reason was that this work, in his previous life, had a beautiful art style and a great storyline. Turning this phenomenal piece into a manga didn't capture its full potential, which he felt was a waste. In the future, he probably wouldn't want to be the scriptwriter again. Especially if his wife started an animation company, he would just review the scripts of the scriptwriters the company hired to see if they matched his works. Mr. N, you want to be the scriptwriter? Leo asked with a smile, but his palms were sweaty. He didn't expect the woman earlier to be so tough. She saw through all the traps in his words. Moreover, she was hard to handle when it came to negotiating benefits. Now, talking to this man would give him a chance to relax a bit. Yes, I have a strong interest in it. I have high hopes for Your Name. Initially, I wanted to keep this IP in-house. Is that so? But Mr. N, animation scripts and manga scripts are two different things. If we give you this role, can you really complete the script? His tone carried a hint of skepticism, which was understandable. From his sources, he knew that the game his sister was working on was proposed by this man, and he was also a manga artist. He found it hard to believe that one person could be a genius at everything. Rest assured, Ren said, not minding Leo's tone. If he were in the same position, he would have doubts too. But it was better to let facts do the talking. That was what he had prepared for last night. Ren opened his briefcase and took out a notebook. Please take a look. Leo took it and handed it to the two experts beside him. He wasn't knowledgeable in this area, so he brought them along for this purpose. The two experts took Ren's script and, after flipping through a few pages, their eyes filled with astonishment. It wasn't bad. It was surprisingly good. The content was straightforward and vivid. They knew Ren was just a manga artist. How could someone be so talented? Seeing the reactions of the experts, Leo smiled and nodded. Since my colleagues are satisfied, Mr. N, we'll leave the script for Your Name in your hands. It's January now. Can you have the script ready in 3 months? Ren thought for a moment. He could go on his honeymoon and do some location scouting, then return to work on Rainbow Cat and Blue Rabbit 7 nights, and spend his evenings on the script. Yes, that was more than enough time. Now that his right hand was fully healed, drawing was no problem, and his speed was unaffected. Ren smiled and nodded. The rest was simple. Ren just needed to sign a script contract. He didn't have to worry about voice acting or other details. If it were his own company, he would have loved to see the voice actress as a broken bar. 3 days later, in Yan'an Province, at Blue Moon Valley and Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. This valley, formed by the melting snow of Jade Dragon Snow Mountain, got its name from the moon's reflection on the Blue Lake. The river formed 4 larger bodies of water: Jade Liquid Lake, Mirror Lake, Blue Moon Lake, and Sound Wave Lake. The lake shores were lush with vegetation, and the snow peaks in the distance provided a stunning backdrop. At this moment, Ren's family was here. Wow, Daddy, take my picture. Wei Yu, wearing a pink down jacket and looking like a chubby little bear, stood there, wanting to capture this beautiful scene in the camera. Hold on. Ren looked around and found a handsome guy in a black coat, asking him to help take a family photo. Okay, you 3, pose. The man waved at Ren and Jada. Yes, just like that. Squeeze your child in the middle, half squat, and move a bit to the side. Great. Now you, the dad, put your arm around your wife's waist. Mom, you do the same. Little girl, stand close to your parents' legs. Following the instructions, they quickly settled into position, and the photo was taken. Take a look at this. After thanking the man, Ren and Jada checked the photo. In the photo, Ren had his right hand out, forming half a heart, and Jada used her left hand to form the other half. Their hands were a bit far apart, but the heart shape was complete, with Wei Yu in the middle. Her ears were red from the cold, but she had a happy smile. For Wei Yu, even though it had been less than a year, she felt the massive change in her home since her daddy arrived. Although he often stole her snacks, This feeling was something she had never experienced before. "Come on, I told you to wear your earmuffs." Jada squatted down, warming Wei Yu's red ears with her hands before putting the earmuffs on. Then she looked at Ren. "Is this the location for your scenes?" "Yeah, this is where one of the 7 swords, the wielder of the Ice Soul Sword, is based." Ren had come here for a dual purpose, the honeymoon and location scouting. During this time, besides working on the script, he was revising some parts of the original manga, mainly by choosing appropriate scenic spots to include in the work. For example, he planned to set the Ice Soul Palace of the Ice Soul Sword wielder in Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. He chose this snowy mountain to match the Ice Soul Sword and its wielder. Many movies and novels depict the most beautiful women living in snowy mountains, possibly to emphasize their beauty. Of course, the name Blue Rabbit would have to change. It was too low class. Chapter 83, The Laws of Nature. "Seriously, we finally come out on a trip, and you still want to find a DIY kitchen? Aren't you afraid of getting tired of it?" Ren said as he set the dishes on the table. He nudged his daughter Wei Yu with his elbow as she eagerly reached for the food with her chopsticks. "Don't be rude. Wait until your dad sits down before you start eating." He then pulled out a chair and sat next to her. "HMPH." Wei Yu huffed and turned her head away angrily, trying to push Ren's chair away. However, as a small child, she lacked the strength to move it. After a few futile attempts, she glared at Ren and moved her chair to sit closer to her mum. "Bad daddy." She pouted, her face scrunching up in anger. Of 1/2 I diaresis 1/2 AO apostrophe A tilde F inverted exclamation mark Fs. Remembering what happened that afternoon made Wei Yu even more upset. She and her dad had been playing in the snow, and Ren made a snowball bigger than her head. He threw it at her, knocking her down, and then started shoveling snow on top of her as if he were going to bury her. The worst part was when he stood on her to keep her from getting up. She decided she would never speak to him again. He was too mean to kids. This bad daddy had lost her favor for good. Watching his angry little daughter, Ren felt the urge to tease her more. "Oh no, why is my chair moving by itself?" "This chair has such a strong will," Ren said as he pretended his chair was moving towards Wei Yu on its own. Wei Yu quickly started moving her chair towards her mum, but she was too small to move the chair easily, and soon she was pressed up against Ren. "Oh no, my hand, Ren exclaimed, grabbing his left hand with his right. "Why is my hand moving towards Wei Yu's face?" "Oh no, it's going to pinch Wei Yu's cheeks." "Ah, I know, it must be the laws of nature at work, something I can't resist." "Ugh!" Wei Yu screamed as Ren pinched her cheeks, flailing her hands with chopsticks in them. Clatter. In her struggle, she accidentally threw her chopsticks into Jada's bowl of soup, splashing it all over Jada's face. Jada's face darkened immediately. A growl of frustration escaped her lips as she glared at them. "You two, behave and eat your food," she commanded, giving each of them a flick on the forehead. After this, father and daughter separated, exchanged a look, and obediently prepared to eat. But this truce was short-lived. Father and daughter both reached for the same fried chicken leg, their eyes meeting in a fiery stare-off as sparks seemed to fly in the air. "Wei Yu, you shouldn't eat this. It's not good for kids to eat too much fried food," Ren scolded, holding onto the chicken leg. "You've already had 3. This last one should be for an adult." Wei Yu wasn't about to back down. Fried chicken was one of her favorite foods, and this was a battle she couldn't afford to lose. 8.C. Daddy, other parents give all the best food to their kids. You always take my snacks, and now you want my chicken leg too. Wei Yu protested. She didn't hold the chicken leg with her chopsticks but instead pressed them down on the chicken to keep her dad from taking it. "And besides, you've eaten as much as I have." "Wei Yu, what are you talking about?" Ren's tone suddenly turned serious. "Do you think I want it for myself? You're being selfish. Think about how good your mum is to you." "How many chicken legs has she had?" "Just one. I was going to gift this one to her." "You can't keep being so selfish. I advise you to reflect on your actions." "For Mum?" Wei Yu hesitated for a moment, her grip on the chicken leg loosening slightly. Ren seized the opportunity and took the chicken leg. "Hey, Daddy, You. Wei Yu realized she had been tricked. She started to get up and lunge at him but then stopped, puzzled. Could she have been mistaken? Wei Yu's little head filled with questions. She watched as Ren gently placed the chicken leg in her mom's bowl with a sweet smile. Here, honey, this is for you. Thank you. Jada smiled and reached for the chicken leg with her chopsticks. As she tried to pick it up, she noticed Ren wasn't letting go of it. Confused, she looked at him. Ren then said, "Well, honey, you see how good I am to you? I worked hard to get this chicken leg for you. Shouldn't you show some appreciation?" Show appreciation? Jada blushed. Did he expect her to kiss him in front of Wei Yu? That was too embarrassing. But then Ren continued, "Since you're my wife, you don't need to give me anything expensive. Just let me have the chicken leg." As Ren congratulated himself on his cleverness and moved to eat the chicken leg, it was snatched away midair. Jada had taken it with her chopsticks, giving him a smile before spitting on the chicken leg. Then she taunted him with a look that said, "Still want to eat it?" But Jada underestimated Ren's shamelessness. What was a little spit? A famous doctor in Japan once said, "If you don't dare eat your beloved's poo, do you really love her?" Ren couldn't bring himself to eat that, but saliva. Chapter 84, New News. Golden Smile, 2-1. In the evening, Ren sat at his desk, drawing the manga 7 Heroes. The story's plot was quite simple. In the year 347, in the picturesque central plains of China, the leader of the demon cult, known in the martial arts world as Black-Hearted Tiger, led the cult in burning mountains and harming lives. He attempted to capture the mythical beast Kylin, intending to drink its hot blood to enhance his internal strength and cure his madness, aiming to dominate the martial world. To maintain peace and tranquility, the then master of the long rainbow sword, Hong Tao, led the other 7 swords to stop Black-Hearted Tiger. Using their combined powers, they eventually defeated him, but the 7 swords were either injured or killed. In the year 397, Black-Hearted Tiger returned with the demon cult. The only way to stop him was to reunite the 7 swords, but by then, the other 6 swords had long since scattered and gone into hiding. In a bloody battle, Hong Tao, outnumbered, heroically sacrificed himself. His son, Hong Fei Hong, following his father's dying wish, took on the responsibility of saving the martial world. Filled with anger, he went down the mountain to find the other 6 sword successors. In the Jade Toad Palace on Jade Dragon Snow Mountain in Yunnan Province, the master of the Ice Soul Sword, Lan Yun, was known as the most beautiful woman in the martial arts world. In the Xian Inn on Mount Lashan in Jiangxi Province, the master of the Purple Cloud Sword, Shali. Next to the Huangyueshu Waterfall in Guizhou Province, in the 6 Wonders Pavilion, the master of the Rainflower Sword, Du Shenyi. In the Happy Forest of Mengzi in Henan Province, the master of the Thunderbolt Sword, Cheng Daban. In the 100 Herbs Valley in Zhehaigu, Sichuan Province, the master of the Whirlwind Sword, Panda. And in the Flower and Fruit Mountain of Jiangsu Province, the master of the Green Light Sword, Hu Junbao. Hong Fei Hong, seeking revenge for his parents, infiltrated the demon cult for decades. The 7 swords and the demon cult battled wits and strength, from Mount Lashan to Huangyueshu, from the Happy Forest to Zhehaigu. Each time the demon cult surrounded the 7 swords, Hong Fei Hong would help them. After many intense battles, the 7 swords finally reunited and defeated Black-Hearted Tiger, completely eradicating the demon cult. The Central Plains once again enjoyed peace and tranquility. Next, I need to visit these places, Ren said as he picked up a bottle of wahaha, ready to drink. Daddy. Before he could take a sip, Wei Yu's voice called out. She was wearing thick pajamas, bouncing high off the bed, barefooted, and running towards Ren. "That's mine. I saved it to drink before bed." "Who said it's yours?" Ren held the bottle high, shamelessly saying, "Does the bottle respond if you call it?" "Ugh." Wei Yu pouted, her eyes rolling, and she grabbed Ren's leg, shaking it. "Good daddy, that's Wei Yu's." "Please give it back to Wei Yu. Daddy is so nice." Sigh. "I know I'm nice," Ren nodded. "Which is why I can't let you drink this." "Kids who drink soda before bed might wet the bed." "Afza 1/2 Fza. Give it back, give it back, Give it back. Wei Yu head-butted Ren's stomach repeatedly. Ren took a deep breath and tensed his belly. Duang Tilda caught off guard. Wei Yu was bounced onto the bed. She lay there stunned, then looked at the wahaha in Ren's hand, thinking about how her favorite drink was about to be consumed by her dad. She felt it was the ultimate betrayal. Her dark eyes rolled again, and she covered her face with her hands, crying out loud. HMPH, don't think I don't know you're faking it, Ren said smugly, seeing through her act. Realizing her fake crying wasn't working, Wei Yu called out louder, "Wah, I want mommy." "Ha ha ha, your mom's not." Before Ren could finish, he found himself speechless. Jada was suddenly standing beside him, taking the wahaha from his hand. Stop bullying her all the time, Jada said, poking Ren's cheek. At first, Ren had been so good to Wei Yu. How did he end up constantly teasing her now? Jada couldn't figure out the man in front of her. Hit him, Mum. Dad is so mean, Wei Yu said happily, watching her dad get scolded. While Ren was having fun with his family, news of his 2 new works was released. This made many readers extremely excited. Although Madoka Magica had tormented them emotionally, they couldn't deny its brilliant plot and were left wanting more. And now the porter was releasing not 1, but 2 new works. That was fast. Was he a human printer? However, soon people noticed something. In the credits for these 2 new works, Ren was only listed as the original creator, not the artist. This made many readers unhappy, and some even began to criticize him. Really? 2 new mangas, and he only did the original story? Got a bit of fame and now he's slacking off? Yeah, letting his assistants do the drawing? No sincerity at all. Cooking Master Boy is also drawn by his assistants now. This is just like some online novels where the author gets famous and hires a studio to write for them. Bet these 2 will be the same. Idiot. Many mangas are collaborative. The original story is the core. Without it, how would they draw the plot? I respect the porter for coming up with 2 stories so quickly. I just hope they turn out well. Keep defending him. Initially, Ren ignored the online comments, but seeing some of the negativity, he couldn't help but respond. He posted news about 7 Heroes. Not just 2? There's a 3rd new work. Love it. 7 Heroes? Is it a martial arts story? The porter loves a challenge. Ever since the rise of Xianxia, there haven't been many good martial arts mangas. I hope he captures the martial arts essence. I think we'll finally get a good martial arts story. The porter has never let me down, whether it's cooking or magical girls. As people discussed the porter's 3 new works, the release dates for 2 of them arrived. Daniel reheated some leftover dumplings from lunch, made a small plate of side dishes, and brought them to the table. He pulled out a stack of manga, ready to eat and read at the same time. He had a lot of manga to go through, from the big 5 publishers and smaller comic companies alike. After all, he was a manga reviewer and couldn't just read from one publisher. Let's start with Picker Comics' Cooking Master Boy and the 2 new works, Bleach and Gardgupta Sakura from Flowing Shrine. Daniel decided. Reading the porter's works every week had become one of Daniel's great joys. He considered himself a supporter of the porter. First, he opened Cooking Master Boy. This manga, originally drawn by the porter, was now only written by him, with the art handled by his assistants. Daniel didn't mind this. Many current mangas were made this way, and the porter's assistants had a good art style. Plus, the stories were still great, so there was nothing to complain about. This chapter continued from the last, where they were in a cooking battle against the Dark Cooking Society. The second round's theme was pastries. The project was chosen by throwing darts, and the participant, Master Xi, hit buns. Unfortunately, Logan was the last disciple of the Bailuo family, known as the King of Pastries. The key point was that his family was especially skilled at making buns. They even tied it to Zhu Liang. Daniel's eyes widened as he read the explanation of the Bailuo family history. He knew this story. During the period when Zhu Liang assisted Liu Bin conquering the world, Zhu Liang led his army to the southwest to subdue Menghuo. When they crossed the river Lu, the toxic water and heavy miasma caused many soldiers to fall ill or die. In response, Zhou Liang created the world's first bun. Daniel was amazed that the porter could tie this story into his manga. This made him admire the porter's creativity even more. It wasn't just Daniel who felt this way. Many readers, upon seeing this part, couldn't help but exclaim whoa. No wonder they call him the king of improv. This kind of imagination surpasses many manga artists who would have thought of this. As readers continued, they saw that Master Xi wasn't afraid of Logan, even though he was up against the king of pastries. After all, he was called the best pastry chef in the land. Known as Steel Rod Master Xi. Not only was he unafraid, but he also flaunted his muscles, challenging Logan, thinking the old man couldn't even knead the dough. However, Logan easily stirred the dough with his cane and revealed a secret weapon, a yeast starter that had been preserved for 1,600 years, the Shuhan old yeast. A 1,600-year-old yeast. Wouldn't it be spoiled by now? Yeah, this is too far-fetched. Many people were curious about this old yeast and looked it up. They learned that it wasn't literally a 1,600-year-old batch of dough. Instead, it was a starter that had been preserved and passed down through generations. Nowadays, artificial yeast is used, so the tradition of keeping old yeast is less common. Readers were impressed by the power of the ancient yeast, making them worry about whether Steel Rod Master Xi could defeat such a formidable opponent. Despite the strong opponent, Master Xi laughed heartily, mocking Logan for valuing an old yeast starter as if it were a treasure. Readers eagerly awaited the porter's next bit of improv. The competition was intense, and soon both chefs finished their buns. As they lifted the cloths covering the buns, beams of light shot into the sky. This chapter ended here, but since the issue had 2 chapters, readers sighed in relief. They were used to the porter ending on cliffhangers, making them wait a whole week. Daniel turned the page. Logan had made 4 God's Seafood 8 treasure buns with 4 colors representing the legendary 4 sacred beasts, black tortoise, vermilion bird, azure dragon, and white tiger. Readers were nervous. With such impressive buns, could Master Xi really win? Especially when they saw the judges praising the buns filled with delicacies like shark fin, readers felt their stomachs growl, craving the buns. But then they remembered the online videos showing how recreating dishes from Cooking Master Boy often resulted in gross dark cuisine, and they shivered. Logan's creation mesmerized the judges, making the outcome seem obvious, which increased the reader's anxiety. However, Master Xi laughed in the face of such a formidable opponent and tossed his buns to Logan. As Logan examined Master Xi's buns curiously, ha 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 ha, laughter erupted from Master Xi's buns. Yes, the buns were laughing. Everyone, including the readers, was stunned. How could buns laugh? Readers couldn't wait for the porter's next explanation. Soon, with Master Xi's hint, the readers learned the secret of the laughing buns. Master Xi had used the principle of sodium bicarbonate rapidly expanding when heated. Upon learning this, readers left comments in online forums. See, this shows the importance of learning. Now I understand the saying good math and science skills can take you anywhere. Even making buns involves understanding chemical reactions. Whoa. It actually makes sense. That's the porter's brilliance. While almost every dish in the manga would be gross if made in real life, his explanations always sound so plausible. Chapter 85, Sealing Release Sigh. As expected, every time I read the porter's Cooking Master Boy, I have to have some food on hand. Daniel took a bite of the dumplings beside him and sighed. Otherwise, I just get hungry. Ugh. As he spoke, Daniel burped contentedly, closed the Picker Comics magazine, and smacked his lips a couple of times. Even though he knew that the food in the porter's Cooking Master Boy was all fake and enhanced with special effects, every time he read it, he felt hungry. So, he made sure to have some food ready before diving into the manga. Well then, let's move on to these 2, he muttered to himself, turning his attention to the magazine from Flowing Shrine. This magazine featured the porter's new works Bleach and Cardcaptor Sakura. Daniel was particularly interested in Cardcaptor Sakura, given his vivid memories of Madoka Magica. Even though this one was titled Cardcaptor instead of Magical Girl, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that the porter might be trying to deceive young readers with a different name while still delivering something just as tragic. With this suspicion, Daniel decided to start with Bleach and save the potentially heartbreaking card Gupta Sakura for last. The first page featured a boy with spiky hair, looking like a typical rebellious teenager. Is this the main character? Daniel frowned. To many people, students with dyed hair and wild hairstyles were often seen as troublemakers. Daniel's impression was no different. However, contrary to Daniel's initial impression, this boy named Yakugo, despite looking tough and mean, was actually kind-hearted. He defended a little girl ghost by beating up the bullies who knocked over her flower vase. So, he wasn't really bad after all. Daniel took a bite of pickles and continued reading. The early chapters introduced Yakugo's background, a boy who had been able to see things others couldn't since he was young. What could he see? Naturally, ghosts. He lived with two sisters and a seemingly strict father, though not really strict, given how they played around together. The next day, the ghost girl Yakugo had helped was attacked by a monster. Just in time, a girl dressed in ancient warrior clothing, wielding a tang sword, appeared and saved her. After checking the manga, it seems the ghost girl wasn't saved in the first chapter, unlike in the TV version. Considering some people might have only seen the TV version, I'll stick with that. Also, I decided to keep the characters' outfits as traditional warrior attire instead of changing them to Ming Dynasty guards' uniforms since some readers didn't like the idea. That night, as Yakugo lay in bed, curious about the identity of the girl who had saved him, a butterfly flew into his room. Following it, the warrior girl from the morning passed through the wall and got kicked to the ground by Yakugo, landing face first. This made Daniel chuckle, especially at the girl's bewildered expression. Later, Yakugo learned from the girl, named Rukia, about soul reapers and spirits. When another hollow attacked Yakugo's family, Yakugo and Rukia fought together. Rukia was injured and couldn't move, leading to the crucial moment where she transferred her powers to Yakugo, turning him into a soul reaper. As in many shonen mangas, Yakugo's spiritual power was exceptionally strong, and he wielded a massive Zanpei Kuto, much larger than most soul reapers. He successfully defeated the hollow. The storyline was typical of a shonen manga, with the protagonist being incredibly resilient and growing stronger with each battle. But it was still a solid start, even if it was a bit conventional. Daniel felt that even if this manga didn't become a hit, it was understandable given how difficult it was to consistently create top-tier stories in such a short time. After all, the porter was a person, not a god. However, Daniel was optimistic about this work's future, as its setting was intriguing. In this story, souls that die peacefully ascend, while those that die with regrets or under evil influence become hollows. When thinking of soul reapers, most people imagined scythe-wielding skeletons in cloaks. But in this work, they were portrayed as ancient warriors, turning soul reapers into righteous protectors fighting evil hollows. Moreover, the world of soul reapers, called the Soul Society, sparked Daniel's curiosity. Would it be like the Yama King's palace or more akin to hell? Next, Daniel turned to guard Gupta Sakura. He took a deep breath before starting, fearing that it might begin with a gruesome scene like a head falling off. However, to his surprise, there was no such scene. The story was about a lively fourth-grade girl named Sakura. One day, Sakura discovered a glowing book in the basement. Inside the book were mysterious cards called Clow cards, which had been sealed away. By opening the book, Sakura accidentally released the cards. A small, toy-like creature named Kuroboros, the beast of the seal, emerged from the book. This creature reminded Daniel of Kyuubi from Madoka Magica, raising his suspicion. Could this Kuroboros be similar to Kyuubi? Looking at the small creature with beady eyes, Daniel couldn't help but be wary. But as Kuroboros and Sakura chatted, the silhouette of a Clow card appeared, not in card form but as a giant bird. Sakura and Kuroboros chased after it. With Kuroboros's encouragement, Sakura pulled out a staff typical of magical girls and recited an incantation, Key of the Seal. There is a dark force hidden inside. Reveal your true power to me. Release. Chapter 86. The title got eaten by the author. 2-1. Half a month flew by. Since the release of his two new books, Ren had been traveling with his family, and online comments gradually increased. I can't believe that the porter is actually drawing a proper magical girl manga this time. Don't get your hopes up. Remember the 3rd episode rule. It might start off normal, but suddenly someone's head could get chopped off. But the setting of Bleach is pretty cool. It changes my perception of death gods. If death gods were cute girls, I'd be okay with one taking my soul. I'm more interested in the porter's 7 heroes. Since he's drawing this one himself, he must really believe in it. Agreed. But the guy's traveling with his wife right now and constantly posting lovey-dovey photos. That's what I admire most. The porter managed to date his own company's boss. I wish the porter would start a love class to teach me how to woo a rich woman. A broken bar soon. Online comments veered off topic. In the internet age, Ren and Jada's relationship was no longer a secret, especially after the book signing event for Madoka Magica. Ren's appearance was revealed. Additionally, he and Jada were often seen together without trying to hide it. People soon learned about Ren's background and that he had won over his boss. Ren didn't care much about these off-topic comments. He was currently lying in bed, enjoying a good sleep. Just as he dreamt about being close with Jada, he was abruptly awakened by a sudden attack. Feeling something heavy repeatedly pounding on his stomach, Ren quickly opened his eyes and saw Wei Yu bouncing on top of him. "Wake up! Wake up! We're going to see the flag-raising ceremony today," Wei Yu shouted excitedly, seeing Ren's eyes open. She then started jumping again. This reminded Ren that today they were going to see the flag-raising ceremony at Tiananmen Square. After all, it would be a shame to visit the capital without seeing the flag-raising ceremony. Stop, I'm going to die. Wei Yu had put on some weight recently from all the good food, and Ren couldn't take the pressure anymore. He quickly lifted her by the armpits and held her up high. "What are you doing? Trying to kill your dad? You're going to squeeze the life out of me." HMPH. Gross. Daddy. Wei Yu wrinkled her nose in disgust, as if she could smell something bad. When Ren reached out to rub her face, she quickly waved her hands to fend him off. After a bit of playful wrestling, Ren handed Wei Yu a toothbrush with toothpaste and set her on a chair. They stood side by side in front of the bathroom mirror, brushing their teeth. Glug glugga broken bar. Ren gargled with water. Glug glugga broken bar. Wei Yu imitated him. Their movements were surprisingly synchronized as they brushed up and down, left and right, and then a broken bar. Ren spat out the water. Glugga broken bar. Wei Yu swallowed the water. A broken bar. Why do you keep swallowing the water? Didn't I tell you not to drink it? How many times have I told you? Ren hurriedly wiped her face with a towel. Yuga broken bar. Wei Yu resisted the hot towel on her face. Finally, she managed to speak. "I forgot." Coming out with Wei Yu, Ren saw Jade returning with breakfast and setting it on the table. Ren immediately started to complain. "Dear, can you not have Wei Yu wake me up next time? She always takes the chance to get back at me. She nearly squeezed the life out of me this morning." Ren grumbled, and she swallowed the mouthwash again. "Is it really that tasty?" "You deserve it." Jade shot Ren a look. "You're always teasing her." Exactly. Wei Yu, hearing her mom support her, waved her fists and taunted Ren. Seeing Ren reach out to pinch her cheeks, she quickly hid behind Jada, sticking her tongue out at him. Chapter 87, The Legend of the Seven Heroes. Opening the comic book, Daniel immediately saw the characters depicted in the illustration the porter had previously posted on his Weibo. The wielder of the long rainbow sword was playfully sparring with a Kylin when a rolling stone rapidly approached. "Who goes there?" Such an attack was clearly ineffective against the master of the long rainbow sword. With a graceful turn, a long sword flew into his hand. He flicked his wrist, sending 2 sword beams toward the rolling stone, reducing it to dust. Next, numerous arrows shot at him, but he deflected them all effortlessly. The master of the long rainbow sword then mounted the Kylin and sped off in one direction. Moments later, a dozen men in black wearing iron half-masks emerged from the bushes. The scene shifted to show an old man, who appeared like a fiery whirlwind, standing on a cliff with his hands behind his back. The master of the long rainbow sword, riding the Kylin, approached and spoke with the old man, revealing their identities. The old man was Hong Tao, one of the 7 swords and the master of the long rainbow sword, while the youth was his son, Hong Fei Hong. They lived in seclusion, guarding the Kylin. Through their conversation and flashbacks, the background of the legend of the 7 heroes was unveiled. After explaining the background, Hong Tao entrusted the long rainbow sword to his son Hong Fei Hong, instructing him to protect the Kylin and seek out the other wielders of the 7 swords to thwart the demonic sect's schemes. By this point, many readers had grasped the main storyline, a battle between good and evil, with the demonic sect aiming to capture the Kylin and the righteous path seeking to protect it. Hong Fei Hong was to find the 7 swords heirs to defeat the demonic sect. It's not overly complex, much like many TV dramas where the ending is predictable from the start. The key lies in the subplots within the main storyline, which can make the narrative richer. Understanding his father's urgency, Hong Fei Hong did not linger like many heroes in martial arts comics. Instead, he tearfully rode the Kylin away. Hong Tao watched silently as his son departed. However, not long after Hong Fei Hong left, Hong Tao suddenly looked in a direction, and bats began to swarm, accompanied by a narration. "Ha ha ha, master of the long rainbow sword, do you still recognize me?" As the narration ended, a large chariot descended from the sky, crashing heavily onto the ground. The newcomer was Black-Hearted Tiger, Situ Feng. They exchanged few words before fighting. Situ Feng's eyes flashed like lightning, his body surrounded by dark light. He leapt from the chariot and charged at Hong Tao, who stood his ground, gathering energy in his palms. With a swift movement, he met the attack. Boom! Their clash sent shockwaves through the ground, raising dust and scattering rocks. Both were pushed back by the impact. However, it was clear that Situ Feng had the upper hand, as blood trickled from Hong Tao's mouth while Situ Feng remained unfazed. Yet, a villain is always a villain. Despite knowing he had the upper hand, Situ Feng took the most cautious approach. Protector Lord Hu Junbao, Hall Master of the Whirlwind Hall, Nu Xuanfeng, Hall Master of the Yuji Hall, Zhuji. Did the sect masters command. With this, 3 of the demonic sect's elite and numerous black-clad men surrounded and attacked Hong Tao. Despite being the former leader of the 7 swords who once defeated Situ Feng, Hong Tao held his ground against the demonic sect's elite and their minions, suppressing them. Soon, a black-clad man informed Situ Feng that he had seen a youth riding a Kylin down the mountain. Situ Feng immediately planned to pursue. Hong Tao overheard and, to buy time for his son, unleashed his ultimate sword technique, the Fire Dance Whirlwind. In the original version, the protagonist's father used the Fire Dance Whirlwind voluntarily. The protagonist, seeing this technique, recklessly rushed back to the cliff to save his father. Even as the demonic sect neared the Kylin, the protagonist lay on the ground, reaching out and calling for his father. Was this a joke? Would you waste the time your father bought with his life? Ren found this plot discouraging and made some changes. The Fire Dance Whirlwind, unleashed at the cost of Hong Tao's life, sent fiery whirlwinds soaring, engulfing the mountaintop. The scene grew increasingly chaotic, fast and fierce, blurring the view until, at some point, the whirlwind ceased. Situ Feng and his men climbed out of the rubble, looking disheveled. The once numerous demonic sect members were now reduced to a handful. Yet, Situ Feng hadn't forgotten his goal. He immediately sent a bat messenger, ordering his men to pursue the escaping Kylin. The scene shifted to Hong Fei Hong and the Kylin, who, about to leave, saw the phenomenon caused by his father's Fire Dance Whirlwind sword technique from a forest near the mountain's base. Understanding the situation, Hong Fei Hong cried out in grief, tears streaming down his face, reminiscent of the scene on the cover. Impressive, Daniel praised, impressed by the excellent art and tight plot. The first chapter had already set up an intense battle, keeping him highly engaged, especially with the second chapter. This thrilled him even more. He turned to the second chapter. Though devastated by his father's death, Hong Fei Hong remembered his father's words. He suppressed his pain, bowed towards the mountaintop, and continued fleeing, hoping to use the forest for cover. However, the demonic sect resorted to extreme measures, setting the forest ablaze to force out the Kylin. While environmentally unfriendly, it was effective. Faced with the raging fire, Hong Tao, repeatedly circling with the Kylin, finally encountered Nu Xuanfeng, The Whirlwind Hall's master, Fu Zhuji, is nearby. Lure him here, and we can share the credit. Catching the Kylin comes first. Greedy for soul credit, Nu Xuanfeng, without summoning other sect members, charged with his men. Chapter 88. The theme song. However, despite the recent loss of his father, Hong Fei Hong was not weak. He unleashed 1000% of his power, completely defeating Nu Xuanfeng. Blinded by rage, Nu Xuanfeng ignored his sect master's order not to harm the Kylin and focused on attacking it, hoping to force Hong Fei Hong into a difficult position. At that moment, the demonic sect's protector, Hu Junbao, suddenly arrived and knocked out Nu Xuanfeng with a powerful attack. Ignoring Hong Fei Hong, Hu Junbao began to scold Nu Xuanfeng. From later explanations, Daniel felt that Hu Junbao's actions were reasonable. However, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about Hu Junbao. When Hong Fei Hong was escaping, Hu Junbao loudly shouted as he threw a thunderbolt. Dark weapons should be used stealthily, so why was he shouting? There was only one possibility. Hu Junbao wanted Hong Fei Hong to hear him. Of course, it could also be that, like many other comics, characters loudly announced their special moves. But looking at previous scenes, it seemed more deliberate. When Nu Xuanfeng was about to succeed, Hu Junbao threw the thunderbolt and used his words to distract Nu Xuanfeng, allowing Hong Fei Hong to escape. Now, by shouting, he warned Hong Fei Hong of the attack and gave him the chance to dodge and return the dark weapon to Nu Xuanfeng, buying more time to escape. Interesting, Daniel thought, his eyes lighting up. If Hu Junbao intentionally let Hong Fei Hong go, what was his goal? Did he not want Nu Xuanfeng to get the credit, or perhaps he didn't want the sect master to get the Kylin's blood? Was he planning to betray the sect master, Situ Feng, later in the story to take his place? Or could he be a spy from the righteous side? Curious, Daniel turned to the next page. And then, what the heck? The most crucial part was missing. Another cliffhanger. Daniel was so angry he nearly tore the book in half. He pulled out his phone to vent his anger on the porter's Weibo. But when he opened it, he saw that others were already calling the porter a cliffhanger king. However, most of the discussion was about the plot. Some people thought the story wasn't that interesting, while others, like Daniel, speculated about Hu Junbao's identity. I think Hu Junbao deliberately let Hong Fei Hong go. Could he be a good guy? I think so too. First, he saved the Kylin, then he let Hong Fei Hong escape. Nonsense. If Hu Junbao were a good guy, would he have attacked Hong Fei Hong's father? This kind of plot is common in many stories. It's called a pig teammate. In the following days, the popularity of The Legend of the Seven Heroes continued to grow. It received an 8.2 rating on ZWeb, and 5 related topics made it into the top 50 trending searches. This was impressive for a newly released work. But the most interesting part wasn't the ratings. The first scenic spot from The Legend of the Seven Heroes, Hong Fei Hong's hometown, Huangshan, saw a surge in visitors. Despite not being a weekend, the number of tourists matched typical weekend numbers. This delighted the scenic area's manager. Upon learning that the visitors were inspired by The Legend of the Seven Heroes, they bought a copy of the comic and marked the iconic scenes. They even contacted Jada for character rights and created statues at key locations. For example, the scene of Hong Tao fighting Du Yufeng, Hong Fei Hong riding the Kylin, and a life-sized long rainbow sword embedded in the cliff. They also collaborated with Ren and his team to issue an announcement, which led many fans of The Legend of the Seven Heroes to visit and take photos. Even people unfamiliar with the characters bought the comic to understand. Today I visited Huangshan and took a photo with the demonic sect master, Situ Feng. Heart. Of course, all this scenic spot stuff had nothing to do with Ren. He was busy worrying about the theme song for Ultraman Tiga. The preparation for Ultraman Tiga had started around the time Madoka Magica was released, a few months ago. By now, several chapters would have been published if it were a novel. While not fully filmed yet, the casting and costumes were ready, and the theme song was giving Ren a headache. He had tried several samples but wasn't satisfied. In his memory, the Chinese theme song Miracle Reappearance and the ending song Eternal Ultraman from Ultraman Tiga were classics. In his previous life, They were Ren's favorite Ultraman songs and among the few he thought were better than the Japanese versions. Although Jada contacted excellent lyricists and composers, their songs felt out of place compared to the Chinese versions from his previous life. But he couldn't compose music. If he could, he would write down the theme songs from his past life. He could only hum a few lines and barely remember the lyrics. Unfortunately, his system was for manga, not an all-professions system. Ren even thought his system was a bit lame. In many novels he read in his previous life, protagonists excelled in multiple fields after transmigrating, making movies, writing novels, drawing comics, creating animations, and composing music. But he had a rather mediocre life before, just finishing college normally, and his system only awakened after reuniting with Jada. The frustrated composer couldn't understand what style Ren wanted for the theme song. He was also getting annoyed by the constant rejections. If not for the good pay, he might have quit. So he suggested, "How about this? Try humming a tune you think works, and we'll build on that to meet your requirements." Ren was stunned and then said, "Are you sure you can understand what I hum?" Not to boast, but Ren was terrible at music. If he hummed, Ultraman Tiger's new storm might never appear, and even the Earth might not awaken. But the composer was confident, having listened to countless songs. So, with this confidence, they began their collaboration. Chapter 89. The accident. It had to be said, Ren didn't have much talent for music. The theme song and ending song for Ultraman Tiger nearly drove the composer crazy before they were finally completed. As for the background music and other tracks, the requirements for those were much lower. At least they didn't take as much time and effort as the op and ed. Even if Ren was dissatisfied, there wasn't much he could do. Remembering an op and ed tune was already impressive enough for him. He wasn't one of those transmigrators who remembered every plot detail from web novels. However, even though the op and ed for Ultraman Tiger was settled, Ren had a problem. He was hospitalized. After learning that Ultraman Tiger was being filmed, Ren excitedly went to the set. He was curious about the filming process of a special effects show and even wore an Ultraman suit he had never had a chance to wear in his previous life. He daydreamed about building a suit museum after the shoot, displaying all the Ultraman and monster suits from the series in chronological order. Kids would definitely be interested in that. He imagined selling tickets for a few dozen yuan each. No, his vision was too small. Once his works became widely known, he could establish a theme park filled with people dressed as Ultraman and monsters, with occasional appearances by Pikachu and magical girls. Ticket sales would be minor compared to the revenue from selling overpriced food and drinks since visitors couldn't bring their own into the park. Ice cream shaped like Ultraman would sell for several times the usual price. After all, children's money was easy to earn. Just as Ren was envisioning ways to profit from children, a loud boom interrupted his thoughts. The entire set shook, and half of the ceiling in the hall collapsed from the violent tremor. The falling ceiling caused one side of the lighting rig to break, sweeping across half the hall. Heavy light fixtures and lanterns, usually hung with steel cables, flew around. Ren was sitting on a small chair at the time. The sudden shaking and the dust falling from above immediately alerted him to the danger, and he leapt to the side. Although Ren dodged the falling ceiling, he was still hit on the head by the falling light rig and started bleeding. Dazed by the blow, Ren felt dizzy, nauseous, and like he wanted to vomit. He closed his eyes and fainted. The porter was hospitalized and unconscious. Somehow, the news leaked out, and soon posts about the porter near death appeared on various forums. Cease and desist. Nonsense. A human printer can die? The porter is only in his 20s. Many people didn't believe it, but soon others provided related information and photos. It's true. My cousin's sister's son's classmate works at Guiyuan. They said the explosion of a gas tank at a nearby restaurant caused the ceiling of the set to collapse. Really? Is a gas tank explosion that powerful? No way. The explosion affected several gas tanks. So the power wasn't just additive. Not just written information, there were photos too. After a series of such evidence, the porter's fans were in an uproar. Really? Hope the teacher gets better. There's no greater pain than having a comic unfinished because the artist dies first. Soon, rumors escalated, claiming the porter had died from the gas explosion. Some fans even brought wreaths to Picker Comics' office. Picker Comics had to issue a statement, saying Ren only had a mild concussion and soft tissue injuries and needed about 2 weeks of bed rest. So, how was Ren now? Uncomfortable in the hospital, Ren returned home to recuperate with the doctor's consent, but he felt it might have been better to stay in the hospital. Delicious Tilda. Ren lay in bed, his head bandaged, looking resentfully at the little girl making crunch crunch sounds. "That's mine," he said indignantly. That bag of potato chips was supposed to be his. But somehow, the little girl had found it. Nya Tilda, now it's mine." The little girl happily enjoyed her snack. She finally understood why her dad always liked to eat her snacks. Eating someone else's snacks was such a joy. Why had she just realized this now? Ungrateful child. Ren huffed and puffed, glaring at her before uttering those words. But inwardly, he was already plotting. Naughty kids needed severe punishment, a lesson to remember. He would show her what jokes were okay and which were not. Yes, once he recovered, he would reassert his authority as the head of the household and as her father. Any challenge to his authority would be met with strict punishment. Did she think he didn't know she hid her snacks in the wardrobe? He would take them all out and eat them in front of her. Thinking about this, a smile appeared on Ren's face. The little girl didn't realize her snacks were already targeted by her dad. She just felt quite satisfied. Usually, her dad always snatched her snacks to annoy her. Today, it was finally her turn. So yummy, so crispy, and the best part is putting them on my fingers and eating one by one. She munched on another chip. At this moment, Jada walked in. Seeing Ren gritting his teeth and the little girl enjoying her snack, she couldn't help but laugh. "Still teasing your dad," Jada said, ruffling the little girl's hair before turning to Ren. "She cried a lot when you went to the hospital." I didn't." The little girl blushed and quickly retorted, "It was just the wind." She didn't care about her bad dad who always took her snacks. Sure, Ren said, smugly. This made the little girl puff her cheeks in anger, feeling her snack wasn't as tasty anymore. Having a bad dad meant having a bad mom too. "I'm going to sleep." HMPH. She stomped off in her little slippers. Chapter 90, Reward or Punishment? 2-1. How are you feeling? Does it still hurt? After the little girl left, Jada sat down beside Ren, her expression full of concern. She gently touched the bandage wrapped around Ren's head. "Sigh, it hurts a little," Ren said, showing a pained expression. Then, he looked at Jada with puppy eyes. "If someone kissed me right now, it would feel a lot better." Jada's legs gently swung as she leaned slightly towards the door, looking out for a moment, then turned back towards Ren. Ren suddenly felt a pair of soft hands on his face, followed by warm breath, light and ticklish, like a warm spring breeze in the forest. Jada leaned in, and her soft, red lips gently pressed against Ren's intentionally puckered lips. The touch was soft and sweet, with a fragrant scent. Despite being nearly 30, she still seemed like a young woman in her 20s. "Really, just like a child," Jada said, straightening up. A delicate, translucent thread connected their lips, and her face blushed slightly. Because this guy had just pushed in. Ren chuckled, sucked in the thread, and then changed the topic to distract Jada. "Did you find a new assistant?" "Yes, your students are helping with the selection." Jada knew Ren was trying to change the subject. She gave him a reproachful look, then adjusted his pillow to make him more comfortable. "But why are you worrying about work when you're like this?" "I'm here, so don't worry. You've already drawn the storyboards. If they still need your help, I might as well close the company." Even though the doctor said there was nothing serious, Jada still didn't want Ren to move around. It was a good time for him to rest. Since getting together, Ren had been helping her grow the company. "Are you hungry?" Jada asked softly, smiling. "I can get you something to eat." Ren's body trembled at these words, and he looked at Jada with disbelief. He only had a mild concussion and soft tissue injuries. Was there a need to be so ruthless? "Are you trying to poison me?" Ren mumbled. Jada was momentarily stunned by his muttering. What did he mean by that? How was she poisoning him? After a few seconds of thought, she realized what he meant. "I'll order takeout for you, not cook myself," she said angrily. "Oh, that's good," Ren exhaled in relief. After all, Jada's cooking was quite unique. Ren had no idea how she managed it. He had watched her cook step by step, and everything seemed right, but the final dish tasted like he could see the Grim Reaper. Even Little White, the family dog, would run away when Jada cooked. When a dog that eats anything refuses, you know there's a problem. Ren thought that making food this bad was a talent in itself. Seeing Ren's relieved expression, like he had narrowly escaped death, Jada's anger flared. What did he mean by that? She knew her cooking was bad, but was it necessary to act like her food was poison? Jada's face turned red with a mix of anger and embarrassment. She stuttered but couldn't find a way to deal with Ren. Hit him? She couldn't bring herself to do it, and hitting him would hurt her heart more than it would hurt him. Ignore him? That wouldn't work either. He could play on his phone all day and wouldn't care. Cut off his allowance? That wouldn't work either. He usually spent his allowance on snacks, and if he ran out of money, he would just steal his daughter's snacks. After thinking it over, Jada realized she had no effective way to deal with this annoying man. Suddenly, an idea struck her. With a determined look, Jada left Ren's room, leaving him confused. As a Pisces with a strong sixth sense, he felt something ominous was about to happen. Jada went to Ren's game room and stared at a box, contemplating. She hesitated, wondering if she should use a punishment that men fear. But remembering Ren's expression when he talked about her cooking made her angrier. In TV shows, men ate their wives' bad cooking and praised it. Why couldn't Ren do the same? The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. Finally, Jada decided to go through with the punishment. But first, Jada checked on their daughter to make sure she was asleep, then returned to the game room. What she was about to do wasn't something the child should see. A moment later, Jada walked back to Ren's room. Ren waited anxiously, sensing something bad coming from Jada. The bedroom door slowly opened, and in walked a stunning beauty. She had smooth black hair that seemed to draw Ren's gaze like a bottomless abyss. She wore a pure black maid outfit that highlighted her tall and graceful figure. Her long legs were wrapped in white stockings with garters. Seeing Ren on the bed, the maid blushed, bit her lip, smiled gently, and bowed respectfully to Ren. "I'm sorry to disturb you, master," she said softly. "Would you like to eat first, take a bath, or?" Ren instinctively covered his nose, feeling a nosebleed coming on. His lower body reacted, pitching a tent under the blanket. Ren covered his nose, looking a bit stunned. What was this? A maid outfit. He had mentioned playing dress up to his wife before, like wearing maid or nurse outfits, and even bought some costumes. But each time he brought it up, she would reject him with an eye roll and a pinch on his waist. But today, she was actually wearing his favorite maid outfit. Oh, heavens and earth, which fairy sister did such a good deed? Did love come so unexpectedly? But Ren was also a bit confused. Was it his left eyelid twitching for good luck, or his right eyelid twitching for bad luck? His right eyelid was twitching. He initially thought Jada was mad because of what he said earlier, but that didn't seem to be the case. If she was mad, would she wear this outfit? This was a reward. As Ren looked dumbfounded, Jada felt a bit embarrassed. The skirt was too short. She felt that if she stretched a bit, the skirt would lift and expose her underwear. But seeing Ren's wide-eyed, drooling expression, Jada felt a little pleased. After all, many women nearing 30 feared their men would find them unattractive. No, wait. Jada quickly shook her head. She was still in her 20s, in her prime, not nearing 30. Thinking of this, she bit her lip, took a deep breath, and decided to teach this clueless man a lesson first. She took a step closer to Ren's bed. Click-clack, click-clack. With the sound of her high heels hitting the floor, Jada drew closer to Ren. Her long legs, clad in white stockings, trembled slightly with each step, and her short skirt swayed, revealing the black lace-edged underwear underneath. Although Ren had seen Jada without underwear before, for some reason, this look attracted him even more. He wanted to blow on the skirt and lift it completely. Just like many men who have seen countless films, but when a woman in front of them reveals her underwear, their eyes widen, wanting to imprint the image in their minds. This kind of teasing appearance was most appealing to lusty men. Hence the saying, half-hidden face behind a lute. Ren swallowed hard as Jada approached. Despite having seen countless films, the sight of this in real life was overwhelming. Look at those legs, he thought. I could play with them forever. He already imagined what would happen next. Like this, then like that, and finally like this. For 5 or 6 hours, maybe even longer. Jada could see the heat in Ren's eyes. His gaze seemed to melt her clothes away. Instantly, her face flushed, the redness spreading to her ears. Master, you haven't answered my question yet. Jada bit her lip, looking shy. She played with a strand of hair that fell over her chest and softly said, "Do you want to eat first, take a bath, or eat me?" "Of course, eat you." Ren immediately reached out to pull Jada onto the bed. But Jada quickly turned and dodged, then sneered at him. "But master, you're not feeling well right now. Just look." Yes, this was Jada's revenge plan, making him just look. For men, this was torture. Look, you can look but not touch. Here, and here, you can only look. From a short distance, Jada extended her leg in white stockings, lifted her skirt slightly, and bent over, giving Ren a glimpse of the Twin Peaks. Ren was horrified to see Jada teasing him without letting him touch. Was she a demon? Why torture him like this? No wonder his eyelid was twitching earlier. This was what he feared. He decided that once he recovered, he would buy all sorts of items like whips, black rooms, restraint belts, and candles. Then he would make marks on her legs. 100 of them. HMPH. Seeing Ren's resentful face, Jada's lips curled in satisfaction. "Serves you right." Seeing she had made her point, Jada turned to leave. She knew her husband held grudges. "Wait, don't go. At least let me touch." "Ah, it hurts, it hurts." Ren's voice came from behind her, followed by a cry of pain, making Jada quickly turn around. Seeing Ren holding his head, Jada panicked and ran over. "Ren, what's wrong?" As she reached him, Ren suddenly grabbed her arm. With a yelp, he pulled her into his arms, their faces close, only their breaths audible. "Ha ha, you can't escape now." "I, Ren, have read the 36 stratagems." Ren chuckled. "You dared to seduce me." He lifted his hand and lightly spanked Jada's bottom. Although he had done this before, this sudden action made Jada's body tremble and go limp in his arms, glaring at him. "Ha ha, little maid, now you know your master's power," Ren whispered in her ear, making her shiver. "Power, my foot." Despite her body's reaction, Jada gritted her teeth and retorted, "Oh, not powerful enough?" Taking advantage of her limp state, Ren turned her around, pressing her onto the bed. He licked his lips, nearly covering her slender body, lifting her chin. "Woman, you've successfully caught my interest." This bold move made Jada blink in shock, feeling his beast-like gaze. "Danger, Jada, danger." "Wait. Wait. You're still sick." "No problem. EU is still here." "The soundproofing is good." Creak, creak. Then came the inexplicable creaking sounds from the room. Chapter 94, Ghouls, 2-1. For example, the Chimera arc in Fullmetal Alchemist is one of the most memorable and heartbreaking moments, leaving many readers with a psychological scar. It's a deeply sad and hopeless part of the story. Such a cute little girl being turned into a monster by her father is incredibly distressing. "Not bad." Ren smiled contentedly after seeing the first work. "A great start." Ren looked at the next work with satisfaction. Kiss X Sis. This work was fantastic and was Ren's first exposure to manga in his previous life. It tells the story of a romantic relationship between step-siblings in a remarried family. However, it didn't quite fit Ren's current image. The last title made Ren's spirit soar. Tokyo Ghoul. This work was banned in Ren's previous life due to its gore and other elements. Before he transmigrated, searching Tokyo Ghoul on Baidu wouldn't bring up its Baidu encyclopedia page. Tokyo Ghoul tells the story of a group of mysterious, human-eating creatures called ghouls who secretly expand their influence in Tokyo. The protagonist, an ordinary college student named Kanki, is nearly killed by a ghoul attack. A doctor performs an organ transplant on him, but the donor is a ghoul. When Kanki wakes up in his hospital bed, he quickly realizes something is wrong. The food he used to enjoy now tastes terrible. At first, he doesn't feel hungry even after several days, but soon, Severe hunger pangs begin to torment him. He realizes something is wrong with his body. This story was relatively easy to adapt by changing some everyday elements. It would be ready. Unfortunately, the system's version of this work was incomplete, ending around the point where Kanki is tortured by the ghoul Jason and abandons his humanity and gentleness. But that was enough. The prestige acquired wasn't much. Without hesitation, Ren exchanged for Full Metal Alchemist and Tokyo Ghoul. Of course, he didn't plan to release too many works at once. Even a genius producing so many storylines simultaneously would raise suspicions. People might think Ren had ghostwriters and was taking credit for their work. Moreover, managing so many projects at once would be exhausting. Even with assistance, Ren would still need to handle scripts and character designs. The workload would be overwhelming. Ren wanted to expand his wife's company, but he also wanted to enjoy life. Since Cooking Master Boy was almost finished, he would start Tokyo Ghoul next, which was only 12 chapters. Then, he would work on Full Metal Alchemist after The Legend of the Seven Heroes. Ren planned to work on one long series, one short series, and let his assistants handle one or two other series. The system didn't always provide great comics, so Ren wasn't worried about accumulating too many unaddressed works. March 12th. Ren returned home from the filming of Ultraman Tiga. He reached his doorstep and noticed the house's dark windows, which surprised him. Is anyone home? He thought maybe his wife had taken their daughter out. He unlocked the door and felt for the switch in the dark. Click. Along with the sound of the switch, there was a louder sound in front of him, making Ren jump. Daddy, happy birthday. Wei Yu popped out from behind the sofa, giggling at Ren's startled reaction. Usually, it was her dad scaring her today. She finally got to scare him. Happy birthday, Ren, Jada said, pushing a cart with a cake. She placed a crown on Ren's head. We've been planning this for a long time. I didn't let Wei Yu say anything to you because I was afraid she'd spoil the surprise. Today's my birthday. Ren realized only after Jada put the crown on him. He had forgotten. But this made him feel even warmer. It felt good to be remembered. Ren hugged Jada and kissed her. Wei Yu covered her eyes but peeked through her fingers. She didn't understand why kids had to cover their eyes when people kissed, but since it happened in the shows she watched, she did the same. Don't make a scene, Wei Yu's here, Jada chided, making Ren remember and turn to Wei Yu. Wei Yu, feeling shy, walked up and pulled out a well-wrapped package from behind her. Daddy, I have a gift for you too. You have to like it, okay? No rejecting my gift. She handed it to Ren, her eyes full of hope. Ren unwrapped it to find a drawing. It depicted 5 people, clearly identifiable despite the crude artistry. Him, Jada, Wei Yu, Ren's dad, and Ren's mum. In the background was a farmyard, complete with Little White, the yellow dog, and a goose. I hope Daddy, Mommy, Grandpa, Grandma, and I will always be together. And Little White had broken bar. Even though the goose is annoying, I kind of like it too, Wei Yu explained, her eyes wide with anticipation. Daddy, do you like it? Of course I do, Ren said, lifting her for a kiss. It's wonderful. Wei Yu will be a great artist someday. Really? Wei Yu beamed, satisfied with her achievement. Ren took a picture of the drawing and posted it on Weibo, proudly showing it off. Comments quickly flooded in. As expected of the master's daughter, her drawing is amazing. Wow, such a cute kid. Can I call you father-in-law, Porter? I don't mind waiting 20 years. Today is the Porter's birthday. I didn't know. I forgot to send you razor blades. Ugh, how can you praise such an ugly drawing? There were always trolls online, but their comments were quickly drowned out by others. Time flies quickly. To draw new manga, Ren specifically asked Jazz and the others to speed up their work on Cooking Master Boy, increasing the release from 2 chapters per week to 3. With this pace, the story, already near its conclusion, quickly approached its end. In the manga, Cooking Master Boy and his friends learned from Inspector Lee that the Dark Cooking Society had extended its influence to the capital. They hurried to Beijing. However, they didn't expect the Dark Cooking Society to have inside help. First, they imprisoned Inspector Lee, then aimed to seize the position of head chef in the Imperial kitchen. When Cooking Master Boy and his friends unexpectedly crashed the new head chef's inauguration ceremony, they were shocked to find that the person was none other than Arf, who had previously helped Cooking Master Boy. The comments section exploded. "Wow, what's going on? Arf is with the Dark Cooking Society." "No way. I always thought Arf was too kind to be part of the Dark Cooking Society. Why would he help Cooking Master Boy if he was?" "I bet Arf has a good reason, like his loved ones being kidnapped by the Dark Cooking Society or being controlled." "I agree." Many couldn't believe that Arf had genuinely joined the Dark Cooking Society. Even though Arf didn't appear often, his handsome looks and excellent cooking skills had attracted many readers. Of course, his looks were the main draw. The Imperial Cooking Showdown required them to prepare 100 dishes in 3 hours. Arf, using the theme of the Manchahan Imperial Feast, quickly got to work, while Cooking Master Boy pondered what the Emperor truly liked. Seeing Arf's skilled cooking and his assistants helping him, the readers grew anxious. But when Cooking Master Boy glanced at the Emperor, he suddenly found the answer and started preparing his dish. However, a sudden change occurred. Though the Emperor didn't finish all of Arf's dishes, he tasted each one. Remember, this was 100 dishes. Even just a bite of each would fill his stomach. But after much pleading from Cooking Master Boy, the Emperor agreed to taste the porridge he presented. "It's just ordinary porridge," the Emperor said, tossing the spoon aside in boredom after one sip. This made the readers' hearts sink. Could this really be the end? Just as readers feared the worst, the Emperor, as if awakened, saw a flash before his eyes and asked for another dish from Cooking Master Boy's selection. The Emperor's request gave the readers hope. As time passed, he went from tasting a bite of 5 dishes to wanting more, eventually fully awakening his appetite with Cooking Master Boy's Crystal Phoenix dish. Ignoring his chief eunuch's objections, the Emperor leapt down, grabbing plates to eat. Finally, it was revealed that Cooking Master Boy's theme was medicinal cuisine. Seeing the Emperor's frail state, he used medicinal dishes to invigorate him and won the challenge. It turned out Arf had been controlled by the Dark Cooking Society's evil drugs. Cooking Master Boy used 3 legendary cooking tools to make a soup that saved Arf. In the end, under the Emperor's orders, Arf joined Cooking Master Boy and his friends on a journey to find other legendary cooking tools. After reading the latest chapter, the readers left their thoughts. "I knew it. Arf was being controlled." "I'm excited to see Cooking Master Boy's next adventures to find the legendary cooking tools." But soon, some noticed something strange. "Hey, doesn't it feel like something's missing in this 52nd chapter?" "I feel the same, but I can't pinpoint what's missing." "Wait. I got it." Every chapter used to end with "to be continued," but this one didn't. Could it be the end? No way. They haven't found all the legendary cooking tools yet. Exactly. Many couldn't believe it. To them, there were still many unresolved plot points, like the fate of other members of the Dark Cooking Society and the remaining legendary cooking tools. Why would the porter rush to end the series? A large group quickly flooded the official site to ask about it. The response they got was ... The manga had indeed ended. Soon, many readers questioned Ren on his Weibo. Ren responded, not deceiving the readers with promises of a sequel. He straightforwardly explained the reason for ending it. He said he had run out of inspiration for the recipes in Cooking Master Boy, and he promised that a new food-themed manga would be coming soon. Yes, Tokyo Ghoul, also known as Tokyo Eater, fits the bill as a food manga. Some readers accepted this explanation, understanding that the creative, fantastical recipes in Cooking Master Boy weren't easy to come up with on the spot. The glowing food and over-the-top reactions were crucial to the series' charm. Missing either would greatly reduce its appeal. Given the promise of a new food-themed manga, they didn't complain much, only urging Ren to release the new work soon. By mid-April, Cooking Master Boy officially ended. Z.com rated it 8.9. And its single-volume sales exceeded 1 million. This culinary manga set a new record for food-themed comics in China. Some even asserted that among Chinese manga artists under 30, Ren was the most creative. This view gained a lot of support, eventually leading to discussions comparing Ren to other young manga artists, debating who was the best. However, Ren himself wasn't very interested in such titles. Being the #1 young artist didn't translate to food or drink, it was just a hollow title. But during the subsequent voting, Picker Comics employees, from the boss to the staff, all voted for Ren. After Cooking Master Boy ended, a manga company quickly approached Ren to adapt the work. Though the animation company was relatively new, its productions were top-notch, and Ren was very satisfied. Barring any surprises, the anime adaptation of Cooking Master Boy would be handled by this company. Chapter 95, setting the premiere date. Andrew was a veteran employee at KUMO Company, where he worked as a director. He had witnessed both the glory days and the decline of KUMO. Despite everything, he never left because he loved KUMO's tokusatsu, special effects, shows. His childhood was filled with KUMO's series like Hunter's Legend, Witch Teacher, and Skullman. He joined the company with the dream of creating tokusatsu shows. However, last year, he received a piece of news that was hard to accept. KUMO had been acquired by a manga company, and the rights to their film library had been sold off. Was this still KUMO? Was there any hope left for the company? Even the once famous IPs couldn't save KUMO. What changes could this small manga company, which had never done tokusatsu before, bring? With such thoughts, he wrote his resignation letter, planning to leave the company he had dedicated half his life to. But when he went to see the new boss, the boss handed him a script. Could this script save KUMO, save the company he cherished? Andrew laughed coldly, deciding to see what this company had that made them so confident they could sell off KUMO's film library. But after reading a bit, he thought, wow, it's really good. Yes, it was amazing. The more he studied the script, the more he was amazed. The show had many monsters with complete settings, and some stories were filled with biting satire and the metaphor. What seemed like a silly giant fighting monsters show was actually full of reflections on human nature, history, and environmental issues. Moreover, the show borrowed heavily from Lovecraftian mythology, with the final boss based on an old one, a detail that caught his eye since no one had ever combined Lovecraftian elements with tokusatsu before. Looking at the completed 50-second episode, Andrew took a deep breath. No matter what, this was the best he could do. At the end of April, Jada reached a deal with Nanjing TV. Nanjing TV was a lower-ranked station. Choosing this station was a last resort. Higher-ranked stations wanted the show but offered poor time slots. These top stations didn't lack content. Although KUMO was a veteran tokusatsu company, its recent productions had been terrible, and now it had been acquired without retaining any old IPs. A new IP wasn't worth a good time slot. Mid-ranked stations tried to slash the price and also offered mediocre time slots. But Nanjing TV was different. They offered a good price and a prime time slot, 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. This was prime time, with each episode of Ultraman being about 25 minutes. They could air 2 episodes. This was the time when most families were resting and watching TV. Getting this slot was unexpected for both Jada and Ren. But Nanjing TV was also taking a gamble. Their ratings had been declining for years, and due to budget issues, they couldn't afford good shows for first-run broadcasts. When they heard KUMO was looking for a station to sell first-run rights, they jumped at the chance. They knew KUMO and Picker Comics. After seeing the final product and considering that the project involved Ren, a Gold Mouse Award winner, they thought it would be better than their usual acquisitions. Even just promoting the Gold Mouse Award could attract Ren's fans to watch. Thus, the deal was sealed. Such good news had to be shared with the fans. It's set on the 4th at 7:30 p.m. Ultraman Tiga on Nanjing TV. Don't miss it. Share and comment for a chance to win a Spark Lens. Let's become light together. This Weibo post quickly drew many of Ren's fans. Wow, Ren is writing for a tokusatsu show? Ultraman Tiga are not sure what it is, but it sounds impressive. Ren, where's the new food manga you promised? Hurry up. The post quickly became a trending topic. On a popular platform, a hot question emerged. What do you think about manga artist Ren working as a tokusatsu writer? Jang Yang was a well-known tokusatsu writer. Of course, his fame wasn't because his shows were good. It was because, in his 10-plus years of work, Most of his shows had ratings below 5 on Z.com. Recently, he had changed careers due to lack of work, which made him bitter. He thought people were too tasteless to appreciate his work. When he saw online that a manga artist had become a tokusatsu writer, he was furious. A mere manga artist writing tokusatsu? What could he possibly produce? "Alright, I'll target you." Without hesitation, Jang Yang furiously typed on his keyboard. "What does a manga artist know about tokusatsu?" His comment quickly rose to the top, mostly filled with mocking replies. Ren won a Gold Mouse Award. "What awards have you won?" "Awards?" He hasn't even won the Golden Raspberry for bad films. Ren might not know tokusatsu, but at least he's still a writer. Seeing these mocking replies made Jang Yang even angrier. The worst was being mocked for not being a writer anymore. He took a screenshot and posted it on Weibo. "I'm calling it now. Ultraman Tiga will flop. If it doesn't, I'll lick my cat's butt." This Weibo post quickly went viral and trended within hours, drawing many onlookers. "Awesome. Just for this, I'll definitely watch it." Wow, who would go that far? +1 at Ren. Ren was soon tagged repeatedly. Ren didn't care about being called out. He didn't think Ultraman Tiga would flop, but the bet involving licking a cat's butt was interesting. Without hesitation, Ren liked and retweeted the post. "Better wash your cat's butt well. It might taste better." Chapter 96, A New Storm Has Appeared, 2-1. On May 4th, after getting off work, Daniel ordered some takeout from Are You Full Yet? And sat in front of his TV, eagerly waiting for the premiere of Ultraman Tiga. He had become a fan of Ren, even though Ren often left readers hanging at the worst times. Still, he felt it was important to support Ren's work, especially since this was one of Ren's projects. According to some insider information Daniel had heard, Ultraman Tiga was initially intended to be a manga. However, when Ren's wife, Jada, saw the story, she bought Guiyu and Company and decided to make it a tokusatsu series. This clearly showed how much she believed in the project. At 7:30 p.m., the commercials on Nanjing TV ended right on time. Suddenly, a rhythmic, energetic, and catchy song began to play, grabbing Daniel's attention immediately. The words Ultraman Tiga appeared on the screen, coming together in a dynamic sequence. Just like sunlight breaking through the night, dawn quietly crosses the horizon, whose shadow traverses the cycle of life. A new storm has already appeared. How can we stand still? The song seemed to have a magical power that reached straight into his heart. Even though it was his first time hearing it, he found himself humming along almost instantly. He couldn't help but sit up straight and listen attentively. But the opening song was short, and soon it ended. The screen displayed the title of the first episode, Air to Light. Wow, this song is really good. I didn't expect Ren to write songs too. Although the song credits flashed by quickly, Daniel noticed that both the lyrics and composition were attributed to Ren. And it looks like an anthology series? Usually, only anthology series had titles for each episode. Unlike serialized shows, the opening scene featured a narrator, accompanied by images of nebulae. In the early 22nd century, hatred and conflict have gradually diminished, and nature is slowly restoring its beauty. The wish for peace among all living things on this planet seems to be finally coming true. As these words faded, a meteor descended from the sky. Daniel was left pondering the narration. Peace, huh? If only the 22nd century could really be like that. Recently, he had seen many short videos of war-torn areas. A child, mistaking a camera for a gun, raised their hands in surrender. A father and daughter, with the father telling her that the sounds of gunfire outside were fireworks. Such videos made Daniel feel uncomfortable. Though those people were of different races, from different countries, and complete strangers to him, seeing innocent people suffer due to the whims of their leaders and political conflicts made his heart ache. It also made him more grateful for his own country. If his country weren't growing stronger, would they be like those war-torn nations now? The initial narration had already hooked him. Next, the TPC, Terrestrial Peaceable Consortium, was introduced. This organization was described as an international group formed by scientists worldwide, initiated by the UN Secretary-General, surpassing national boundaries. Besides small police weapons, It had no other armaments. The name of this organization indicated just how peaceful the future world in the show was. The scene then introduced a special team under the TPC called the Victory Team. These must be the main characters, Daniel guessed, noting their cool uniforms. The scene shifted to the Victory Team examining the meteorite, which contained a triangular device projecting a hologram of a woman in a white dress. "Is this what aliens look like?" Daniel wondered. But the woman's next words made his eyes widen. She claimed to be part of the Earth Defense Force. If she was from Earth, why did the device fall from space? And why did it need a modern machine to translate her language? Before Daniel could resolve his confusion, the woman warned about the appearance of two monsters, Golza, which would shake the Earth, and Melba, which would tear the sky. This reminded him of the monster emerging from the ground in the earlier scene, confirming it was Golza. The woman referred to the current inhabitants of Earth as my descendants, and tests revealed the artificial meteorite was about 30 million years old. This suggested there was an ancient, more advanced civilization on Earth millions of years ago. What happened to it? Interesting, really interesting. Even with just the opening scenes, Daniel was impressed. The show had set up many intriguing plot points. He was sure the series would eventually reveal the truth about the ancient civilization's downfall and perhaps link it to the current enemies. As he pondered, people in the group chat began to discuss. An ancient civilization makes more sense. I never believed Darwin's theory that humans evolved from apes. Are you doubting science, using a tokusatsu show as evidence? Why are you two arguing about this? The chat group erupted into debate over the ancient civilization theory. Daniel sighed at their childishness and continued watching. Just as Yulian said, the monsters Golza and Melba appeared. To save Earth, the Victory Team deployed to find the so-called pyramid. Just when everyone thought they couldn't find the so-called pyramid, a member of the Victory Team named Daigo seemed to hear a mysterious call. This confirmed to Daniel that this man was the main character of the tokusatsu series. Following this call, Daigo found the pyramid. Along with the other team members, he went inside and discovered 3 stone statues. Unfortunately, although they found the statues, they didn't know how to revive them. While they were stressing over this, they received news that the 2 monsters were heading towards the pyramid. Golza easily reduced the pyramid to rubble, exposing the 3 stone statues. Golza and Melba then started destroying the statues. The outer 2 statues collapsed, causing the middle statue to fall due to the tremors. This was a change Ren specifically made. In the original work, Golza pushed the statue over. Ren thought this was very unrealistic and could easily attract criticism from viewers. After all, if Golza could push it over, why not just slap it down? The tremors causing it to fall seemed more believable. But Daigo couldn't stand it. Even though his plane only had smoke bombs, he still wanted to protect humanity's hope. However, if human machines were effective, why would giants be needed for protection? The plane's tail was hit, catching fire. At this moment, Daigo was surrounded by light, which pulled him from the plane into the statue. Just as Golza's foot was about to crush the last statue, the statue's hand rose, blocking it and then throwing it off. The once stone-covered giant revived. The giant's body shone in red, purple, and silver. Some say it's red, blue, and white, but I see purple and silver. So this is Ultraman. Looks pretty cool. Watching Ultraman fight 2 monsters at once, Daniel was amazed. When he saw Ultraman change colors, his interest was further piqued. Is this a power-up? Seeing Ultraman, who had been losing to Golza in strength, suddenly overpowering Golza after turning red, Daniel made a guess. As Golza was about to be defeated by Ultraman, Melba intervened, using its speed to distract Ultraman. Meanwhile, Golza started digging to escape, with no intention of helping Melba. When disaster strikes, everyone fends for themselves, as the saying goes. But Melba, being a true comrade, continued to distract Ultraman, allowing Golza to escape. This act didn't anger Melba. Instead, Melba kept drawing Ultraman's attention, ultimately allowing Golza to flee. Ultraman, seeing Golza escaping, decided to ensure Melba didn't get away. Switching to his purple form, he delivered a powerful kick, sending Melba crashing down from the sky, and then finished it off with a beam attack. After defeating the monster and reverting to Daigo, the victory team left. Meanwhile, the ancient projection device from 30 million years ago activated again. The woman with white hair appeared once more. The only way to revive the giant is for Daigo to become light. Just as Daniel was about to turn off the TV, another song began to play. The earth gradually awakens, a ray of dawn breaks the silence of the night. Passionate hearts beat, praying for peace to descend. This song wasn't as intense as the theme song but was soft and beautiful, making Daniel pause and listen. The chat group was buzzing with excitement. Wow, Golza really abandoned its comrade quickly, fleeing and leaving Melba behind. Friendship over. Melba, you youngsters are treacherous. Golza, before I go, I'll advise you to behave. Am I the only one who misheard Daigo becomes light as Daigo becomes soup? I was so confused. +1 + 10,086. I heard it wrong too. Covering face.jpg. Thank goodness there are 2 episodes. I can't wait for the ads to end. What were the names of the opening and ending songs? They sounded great. The opening is Miracle Reappearance and the ending is Forever Ultraman. Both were written by Ren. Damn, this guy can draw, write scripts, and compose music. What can't he do? Even after the ending song finished and a minute passed, Daniel was still thinking deeply about Ultraman Tiga. Since the show's promotion began, many people had been paying attention. After all, the script was written by Ren, a Golden Mouse Award winner. However, many were skeptical, thinking that writing manga and writing scripts were different skills. Supporting Ren since your name, Daniel had his concerns. What if the show flopped terribly? Critics would undoubtedly pounce, mocking Ren's overconfidence. But after watching, he felt reassured. While it's too early to judge the overall plot since it's likely an anthology series, the first episode didn't reveal much. However, Ultraman Tiga was well made, with excellent cinematography, special effects, and editing. The attention to detail was clear, and the effort was evident. The cast consisted of talented young actors, delivering above-average performances with many commendable moments. The theme songs were another highlight. The opening song was intense and suited the hero genre, while the ending song was gentle and harmonious, contrasting with the opening. Though it's hard to predict the show's success, based on the discussions in his group, Daniel believed it had a good chance. At the very least, it wouldn't tarnish Ren's reputation. Chapter 97. They just want to survive. What's their crime? With the return of the storm, the screen once again showed the title, The Stone Legend. The scene flashed to a mine where several workers were running for their lives, shouting, "Gakuma is coming! Run, run, Gakuma is here!" But after just a few steps, a bright light flashed, and the running workers suddenly stopped, turning from humans into stone statues. In the depths of the mine, a glimpse of a horned monster could be seen. Soon, Daniel learned from the workers about the so-called Gakuma. It was a rock-eating monster originally living on this island. However, because humans were over-mining the rocks for development and profit, the food sources for Gakuma were dwindling. The workers speculated that Gakuma's anger towards humans arose because its food supply was being depleted, and the rocks it had stored were also being taken away by humans. Humans versus nature, Daniel murmured to himself as he watched this scene. He didn't expect a tokusatsu series to explore such a profound theme, the relationship between humans and nature. Human progress indeed relies on exploiting the living spaces of other life forms on Earth. Forests have been turned into cities, and countless species have gone extinct due to human activities. There was even an incident where a country slaughtered its native wildlife during a forest fire, all in the name of water conservation. These events reflect the worsening relationship between humans and nature. Tiga Ultraman certainly included many narratives with hidden meanings. For example, in episode 6, Gazoto discusses how human development encroached on the habitat of the Lightning Man. In episode 12, the deep-sea monster Rielos was affected by underground nuclear tests, showing the dangers of modern science to surrounding life forms. Through these narratives, Tiga Ultraman integrates real-world issues into its episodes, prompting reflection and planting seeds of awareness in children watching the series. Ultraman uses simple storylines and straightforward visuals to convey messages that even young children can understand. It's far from being the mindless content some claim it to be. Yes, tokusatsu should have some deeper meaning, Daniel thought, appreciating Ren's work on Tiga Ultraman. With this mindset, Daniel continued watching. The workers started arguing about the appearance of Gakuma. Some said it had one horn, others said it had two. This reminded Daniel of the shadow in the cave, which indeed had one horn. Daniel assumed those claiming two horns were simply mistaken. Meanwhile, the Victory team analyzed some data about Ultraman Tiga. When Tiga turned red, his strength was maximized, but his speed decreased. When he turned purple, his strength decreased, but his speed increased. Ultraman could switch forms depending on his opponent. Later, Tiga met with Eula again, asking about the ancient civilization. Why did it perish despite having so many giants? Ultraman do not interfere with human choices. This is because they are all light, but you are different. You are both light and human, Eula said. What does this mean? Daniel wondered. He felt this statement was significant and would play a crucial role in future episodes. Could this mean that Ultramen are considered saviors to humans? Their mission is to defeat monsters, making them akin to gods. After all, to humans, gods might just be powerful unknown beings. Being both light and human might explore the relationship between divinity and humanity. Gods respond to their followers' wishes but do not interfere with their choices. Humans, however, make their own judgments to save their peers. Daniel's head started to hurt from thinking too much, so he decided to wait for the answers to unfold in future episodes. The story continued. After the appearance of the monsters, TPC's newly developed weapon was installed on Victory Phaeon 2, which engaged in battle with Gakuma on the island. One shot. Just one shot. Gakuma, capable of petrifying everything, was killed instantly. This showcased human technology's power, prompting Daniel to exclaim, "Cool." This is different from other tokusatsu, he thought. In most similar shows, human technology is often depicted as weak against monsters. But this series highlighted human capability. However, the story didn't end there. Besides the single-horned Gakuma, there were also two-horned Gakumas, as some workers had described. But what chance did Gakuma have against the light of Ultraman? Despite some danger, Ultraman Tiga cut off the two-horned Gakuma's horns and easily defeated it. If it were the first episode, Daniel would have felt satisfaction seeing the monster defeated. But after the second episode, he felt a sense of sorrow. If what the workers said was true, this conflict was humanity's fault. Overmining had made survival difficult for Gakuma, leading them to seek revenge. Unlike Melba and Golza, Gakuma didn't rampage through cities. It only turned intruders into stone, defending its territory. They just want to survive. What's their crime? Daniel sighed, appreciating Ren's work. Just for the second episode alone, he believed this tokusatsu series was worth following. The next morning, at the ratings analysis meeting for Ultraman Tiga, everyone at South River TV was thrilled with the results and felt lucky to have secured this series. The premiere had an average viewership rating of 0.86, with a peak of 1.03. They were very satisfied with this outcome, seeing a clear upward trend in viewership. They expected that, as word of mouth spread, the ratings would continue to rise. South River TV had been struggling with overall low ratings, and this show ranked second in their lineup, right after a long-running variety show. The variety show had an established audience, while Ultraman Tiga was a new series, premiering on a lower-ranked channel. Their decision to pick Ren's work proved to be correct. However, they soon realized that this success might lead to increased competition for Ren's future works. They weren't sure if they would have the strength to secure his next project. Still, they decided to set this worry aside for now. They could always find other talented manga creators if needed. This confidence stemmed from their successful gamble on Ren. Andrew, the director, was especially excited. This was the best rating he had received in recent years as a tokusatsu director. This success felt like a personal victory for him, reigniting his passion for the genre. Jada, too, felt a weight lifted off her shoulders. Although she had faith in Ren's work, the financial strain of acquiring and producing tokusatsu was considerable. Daily reports on equipment damage and other expenses often gave her headaches. If not for the steady revenue from their manga and game departments, sustaining the production might have been impossible. But now, with these ratings, she felt confident again. She could now think about selling merchandise and licensing for additional revenue. Perhaps even opening a toy factory in the future, although funding for that idea was still an issue. Jada had learned that the more money one makes, the more there is to spend. But for now, she could focus on capitalizing on their current success. Meanwhile, online searches for Ultraman Tiga brought up numerous news articles. Shocking. Ultraman Tiga debut scores 9.5 on ZA, a new masterpiece. Learn from Ren. Meaningful works like this are what we need. Ultraman Tiga premieres with impressive ratings. Former screenwriter licks cat's rear all because of this. Discussion about Ultraman Tiga was rampant online, especially in tokusatsu forums. In my opinion, Gakuma is really pitiful. All they wanted was to survive, but humans killed them. It's true, even now, for the sake of modern development and money, humans have driven countless species to extinction. Even protected animals are poached. Let's not dwell on it. It's too depressing. But Ren's Ultraman Tiga is a profound tokusatsu series. Yes, I initially thought this would just be another show about fighting monsters to protect humans. Same here. I'm looking forward to more episodes. We need more works with such deep meanings. But didn't someone say Ultraman would flop? Didn't he bet he'd lick his cat's rear if it didn't? Hundreds of users tagged Zack on social media. He had bet that Ultraman Tiga would fail, promising to lick his cat if it succeeded. Now, eager users were mocking him. No one actually expected him to follow through, as such an act seemed too extreme. But Zack, instead of feeling embarrassed, was elated. The controversy had boosted his popularity. In today's world, any attention is good attention. As long as people are talking about you, you're winning. An experienced entertainer, Zack knew how to leverage this moment. He continuously used alternate accounts to hype himself on social media, keeping the audience engaged. Still, he couldn't back down too quickly. He felt there was more to gain from Ultraman Tiga. So, he posted another mocking comment on his social media. This is success? It's only been one day. Maybe Ren's popularity caused the spike. Once the initial hype dies, people will realize the show isn't that great and stop watching. All of you don't understand anything. This show? Please. This comment ignited further backlash, with users bombarding his post with criticisms. Zack, however, was unfazed. He smiled smugly, picked up his phone, and made a call. Yes, this wave of attention is massive. This is the perfect time for a product endorsement. Whether the fans love or hate me, they're all potential customers. Chapter 98, A Sly Heart, 2-1. Time flew by, and South River TV was about to air the third and fourth episodes of Ultraman Tiga. Dad, I want to watch South River TV. I want to watch Ultraman. Having finished the homework assigned by his after-school tutor, little chubby classmate heard the weather forecast ending on TV and rushed out of his room. It's still early, why are you in such a hurry? Little chubby's dad replied, glancing at him. Despite his words, he grabbed the remote and switched the TV to South River TV, under the excited chants of a new storm has appeared. From his son, they started watching Ultraman together. The third episode of Tiga, Demon's Prophecy, began to delve into the identity of the Giant of Light. Was Tiga really a friend to humanity? Could he pose a threat? Humans are inherently suspicious creatures. When faced with the unknown, many tend to respond with doubt and caution. However, facing the camera, Captain Yulai firmly believed that Tiga's appearance was to guide humanity forward, even as the Kiri Elids challenged her, causing a building to explode with their so-called sacred flames. Simultaneously, Captain Yulai faced internal doubts from the TPC's hawkish faction, who also believed that Tiga's existence might not be beneficial and could potentially pose a threat to humanity. What's the to doubt? Exactly, he saved people every time he appeared. Unbelievable. Countless viewers watching this scene couldn't help but complain. They felt these people were overthinking things. Even if Tiga wasn't a friend, Wasn't an enemy's enemy still an ally? Little Chubby got angry seeing this too. These people are so bad. Ultraman saved so many people, and they still doubt him. I think their suspicion is reasonable. Every time a monster appears, so does Ultraman. It's natural to question it, his dad responded, munching on sunflower seeds. Hearing this, Little Chubby couldn't hold back. A sly heart. Kids don't think that deeply. They just know Ultraman saved people, so Ultraman is good. Anyone doubting Ultraman is bad. A sly heart? His dad was puzzled. What did he mean? He pondered for a while. It wasn't until Tiga and the Kiri-Elids were fighting that he suddenly had an epiphany. He patted his son's head. Oh, you mean wolf heart, dog lungs. Nice. You know idioms are broken bar wait. What? Idiaresis inverted question mark pound Idiaresis sedilla inverted question mark Idiaresis inverted question mark pound. Halfway through his words, he realized and grabbed his son's ear. Hey, did you just call your dad sly? Oh, ow, the boy protested, jumping up and mimicking Ultraman's pose, pretending to shoot a beam. His dad played along, pretending to fall back, as ha ha ha. Father and son quickly forgot about the scolding. Cough. Cough. Suddenly, an untimely cough made them both shiver. They looked back. Oh no, a ghost. Both father and son did a tactical retreat, almost falling off the couch. After a while, his dad realized, honey. Yes, the ghost was his wife. He remembered she had called earlier, asking him to pick her up because it was raining. Well, honey, a broken bar. Let me explain. A broken bar. Ha. Lucas, you ignored my call to watch Ultraman. Are you childish? Is this fake nonsense more important than your wife? No. At this, Lucas got excited. Ultraman is real. Look. He pulled out a spark lens from somewhere. I am. Dire broken bar. Before he could finish, his ear was twisted 90 degrees. Pick one. She held out 3 items, a washboard, a beer bottle, and a keyboard. A moment later, Little Chubby's dad knelt on the washboard and continued watching. Facing the Kiri-Elids, Tiga struggled. At a critical moment, Captain Uli's voice reached Tiga. Tiga, I've always believed you would protect us humans. Please, stand up. At that moment, the central theme of Ultraman Tiga paid a human faith. Ultraman is light, but Ultraman is also human. However, what defeats the enemy is not just light, but human faith and effort. It was humans who discovered the Kiri-Elids' plan, humans' resolve that foiled their plot, and humans' faith that gave Tiga the strength to defeat the enemy. Facing the power of human faith, Tiga stood up again and defeated the Kiri-Elids. As the ads played, the 4th episode aired. Goodbye, Earth. This episode intentionally introduced the theme of space exploration, another significant topic in human society. 3 astronauts from the Jupiter exploration ship Jupiter 3 were assimilated into the monster Igadron and returned to Earth to absorb its energy. Tiga tried to stop the monster astronauts, but it wasn't easy. Even in his red power form, Tiga struggled against Igadron, who overpowered him. However, human emotions were something Igadron couldn't understand. The astronauts, despite being assimilated, subconsciously missed their loved ones on Earth. Victory Team transmitted photos of the astronauts' families. As expected, no matter how strong the exterior, the inside is most important. Receiving the photos, Igadron malfunctioned. Live as humans once more. At the critical moment, the astronauts' humanity awakened, draining Igadron's energy and helping Tiga destroy it. They then turned into stars, leaving Earth to continue exploring the universe. Compared to Episode 2, where humans killed Gitkamers for their own benefit, this episode was more heartwarming. The astronauts made significant contributions to human space exploration and saved humanity in a critical moment, turning into light to continue their mission. This episode perfectly combines space exploration and human compassion, raising a question for viewers. In the era of space exploration, what moral standards should we uphold? -6. The ratings for the 3rd and 4th episodes of Ultraman Tiga increased again, reaching a gratifying 1.3 rating. In the same time slot, the show ranked 8th, just 0.8 points behind the 7th place. Although it didn't break into the top 5, this achievement was already quite remarkable. Remember, Ultraman Tiga had only aired 4 episodes, and the TV station broadcasting it was not among the top-ranking ones. The scriptwriters and directors weren't well known, and while the actors' performances were good among the new generation, they were not as famous as popular stars. Given these conditions, achieving this rank was something everyone was very satisfied with. Ren's fan count skyrocketed once again. This also led to another wave of comments and tags on Zach's social media. Curious onlookers waited eagerly for him to fulfill his promise of licking his cat. However, Zach wouldn't waste the positive momentum. Since there was still a day left before the final deadline set by the manufacturer for the live broadcast, he shamelessly stalled once again. The audience was used to his antics. They never really expected this shameless guy to lick his cat. They just wanted to use his own words to embarrass him. Ren didn't bother with Zach anymore. This guy was just a keyboard warrior, and engaging with him would only make him more arrogant. Meanwhile, the popularity of Ultraman Tiga wasn't just reflected in its TV ratings. Knock, knock. With a series of knocks on the door, Jada pushed open the studio door and beckoned Ren to come out. "You all keep working," Ren told his assistants before stepping out. He looked at Jada curiously. "What's up?" "It's about these a broken bar," as Jada explained. Ren's expression turned to one of realization. It was about the online streaming rights for Ultraman Tiga. Ultraman Tiga had only sold the first-run TV broadcast rights to South River TV, while the online streaming rights had not been released. Given the show's rising ratings, which quickly reached the top 10 in its time slot and continued to climb, it was clear that it hadn't yet peaked. Who wouldn't be eager to get their hands on such a promising dark horse? They couldn't hope to secure the TV rights, but the online streaming rights were up for grabs, and it would be foolish not to capitalize on that. So starting this morning, several video websites began reaching out to inquire about buying the exclusive online streaming rights for Ultraman. For example, Ki offered 8.5 million yuan per episode. Tencent, backed by its vast resources, proposed 9 million yuan per episode for the exclusive online streaming rights. This price was quite sincere. Soon, another platform entered the bidding of Billy. In Ren's previous life, Billy had never purchased the rights to Ultraman series, except for the adapted Ultraman series. However, in this world, Billy frequently bought tokusatsu series. Seeing the success of Ultraman Tiga, they too offered 9 million yuan per episode. "So, which website do you think we should choose?" Jada asked after presenting the three offers. Although Ren had told her to make the decision herself, she thought it was better to discuss it with him, considering it was his work. Ren pondered for a moment. Looking at the prices, Ki was immediately out of the running. However, selling online streaming rights wasn't just about the price, it was also about the promotional resources each platform could offer. Ki had many shows waiting for promotion, so it was unlikely to give Ultraman the necessary resources. Tencent and Billy offered the same price. In terms of fame, Tencent was more well known, but it had the same issue as Ki, with too many shows vying for promotion. Billy, on the other hand, promised to use all its resources to promote the series. This was something Ren valued highly. After all, online popularity would boost TV ratings, further increasing TV viewership. Try negotiating for a higher price and more promotional resources. If that doesn't work, we can consider shared streaming rights with a lower price. Based on current offers, I lean towards Billy, Ren said. Great, I was thinking the same. Jada nodded. She planned to finalize the deal as quickly as possible. Given the rising TV ratings and the increasing demand for Ultraman Tiga online, there was a lot of potential traffic and new users at stake. Soon, the 5th and 6th episodes of Ultraman Tiga aired. The 5th episode, titled The Day the Monster Appeared, depicted a day when a monster's corpse washed ashore. The Victory team started handling the situation, but the monster revived, and they realized they could only destroy it by burning it. Deputy Captain Mana Carter developed a new battle plan to confront the monster. This episode didn't just focus on Ultraman fighting monsters. It used interviews with various social groups to show their different reactions, deeply illustrating the unconscious state of society on that chaotic day. This realistic depiction resonated with many viewers. Chapter 99, Progress, 2-1. In this episode, the audience saw many things that can be seen in real life. There were so-called monster experts who only talk big and know nothing in practice. There were also ordinary people who, as long as the monster didn't appear in their city, would not care and even take the opportunity to criticize the TPC. There were conscientious journalists who pursued freedom of speech and tried their best to report the truth. And there was Deputy Captain Manakata, who shouldered responsibility and personally commanded operations on the front line. This episode caused a flood of discussions in the Ultraman Tiga fan forums. Finally, a show that criticizes those so-called experts. Yeah, many so-called experts these days are just keyboard warriors. They talk without understanding the full situation and lead public opinion astray. Recently, an expert even said low housing prices are bad because they discourage young people from working hard. Seriously, where do these so-called experts get the nerve to spout such nonsense? This is what good TV shows should be like, reflecting real life. Unlike some shows that are all about love and affairs, like a woman cheating and then the man forgiving her and getting back together, or some unrealistic war dramas. Moreover, the 6th episode also sparked deep discussions. A second encounter. This episode, when Ren first watched it, had a profound impact on him. It tells the story of creatures originally living in the Earth's ionosphere that mutated into monsters due to the electromagnetic waves generated by human activities. This episode once again made people reflect on the impact of human development on living creatures. I heard recently there was a 9-legged octopus found off the coast of Sura Nation. Yeah, and it was caught in the waters near Fukushima. Some people online even claim nuclear waste doesn't affect humans. Do you think there really could be something like the lightning people? Probably not in the sky. We've sent satellites up there. If they existed, we should have seen them. But the ocean is different. I agree. We haven't explored much of the deep sea. Forget the deep sea, there might be unknown creatures living in the Earth's core, surviving in magma, and having their own civilizations. Overnight, the name Ultraman Tiga once again trended on social media. The next day, Ultraman ranked 5th in the same time slot with an average national viewership rating of 1.13. It can be said that Ultraman Tiga was becoming a huge success, and achieving greater heights was not a dream. As an entertainment industry insider, Zack deeply understood the art of hype. Seeing the current popularity of Ultraman, he couldn't help but smile and mutter, "It's time." Yes, the timing was perfect for his live stream product sale. Even if many viewers were there to mock him, they were still viewers. Having already contacted some friendly reporters to cover the event, he set a live stream time that coincided perfectly after the broadcast of Ultraman. In the evening. Hi, my fans. Zack, I'm a man who keeps his promises. In the video, Zack sat with an innocent kitten in his arms. The kitten, unaware of the madness about to unfold, blinked its eyes and occasionally batted at the camera. The number of viewers quickly surged to over 100,000. Who's your fan, you desert rat? The Ultraman fan club is here to see this. I thought you'd use a cake-shaped cat prop, but you actually have a real cat. 666. Beast. Let go of that innocent kitten. High Priest of the Cult of Sadness here to support. Ignoring the barrage of comments, Zack continued, I once said that Ultraman Tiga would fail. Stop talking, GKD. Hurry up. Seeing the viewer count, Zack figured it was time. He lifted the kitten to make sure everyone could see it clearly. See, no tricks. Meow. The kitten looked at its owner in confusion, wondering why it was being held up again, feeling that something bad was about to happen. Hurry up. Get on with it. Zack looked at his kitten, took a deep breath, and leaned in. As he did, the kitten made a strange noise. This cat seems off. Viewers quickly took screenshots, and the comment section was flooded. Many pet owners noticed that sometimes this sound means the cat wants attention or isn't feeling well. Whatever the case with Zack's cat, Zack didn't care. Instead, he picked up a tube of toothpaste next to him. You see, this toothpaste can completely remove any odor. After using it, the taste in my mouth will be gone. Not only that, before he could finish, Zack's live stream was abruptly cut off, showing a message that it was banned for inappropriate content. This time, Zack not only failed to sell his products but also became a laughingstock. Ren, watching this, couldn't help but laugh. Just then, there was a knock on his door. Jada walked in. "There's new progress on the online streaming rights." Hearing this, Ren quickly put down his phone. After all, there were many places where they needed money. For instance, the development of the Poké-Copyrightman game. Due to the unexpected popularity of Poké-Copyrightman, Kill, Ren also planned to create versions like Poké-Copyrightman Hearthstone and Poké-Copyrightman Auto Chess. The progress on the online platform broadcast rights indeed advanced. First, let's forget about sharing the broadcast rights. Who would want to share the pie when they could have it all to themselves? Given the current surge in popularity of Ultraman Tiga, none of the companies are willing to back down. Even the offer from iQIYI has now matched the prices of the other two companies. All three have raised their prices to 11 million yuan per episode. If Ren and his team hold out any longer, the price might continue to rise. But regardless, just selling the online exclusive rights and adding the television station's initial purchase price, they have already covered the production costs and the cost of acquiring Gensui Company. Not only did they break even, but they even made a bit of profit. Jada is now contemplating whether to open a toy factory or start an animation production company. However, Jada knows better than to bite off more than she can chew. The neighboring Jiarong Company, due to its large size, has established numerous factories all at once and is now encircled by the Big Five. If it weren't for its substantial foundation, it might not have been able to hold out. If her company continues this momentum, the Big Five might turn their attention and take out Picker first. So, the foundation needs to be solidified to withstand any potential assaults from the Big Five. Although the prices from the three online video companies are the same, their promotional resources differ. The largest one, Tencent Video, and the slightly smaller iQIYI, both see potential in Ultraman Tiga. However, these companies have many exclusive rights acquisitions and even numerous self-produced dramas awaiting promotion. This means they won't abandon their own projects to specifically support Ultraman Tiga, an outsider. Some of these self-produced dramas have higher investments and more star-studded casts than Ultraman Tiga, and they certainly won't be neglected. Their reason for acquiring Ultraman Tiga is likely because it's trending now, ensuring they won't lose money, and they don't want other companies to snatch the viewership. But Bilibili, known here as Closed Station, is different. Bilibili's CEO personally called Jada to express their commitment. This made Jada favor Bilibili, and they finally agreed on the exclusive online broadcast rights, successfully outbidding Tencent and iQIYI. Once the contract with Bilibili is signed tomorrow, Ultraman Tiga will soon be available online. This news was quickly posted on Weibo, causing fans of Tokusatsu, special effects, series to rejoice. Why? Because it's Bilibili. Many people hate watching shows with advertisements. Although platforms offer VIP memberships to reduce ads, do you think they really eliminate them? They earn a lot from ad revenue. Regular members still see ads and might need a premium membership to avoid them. Even then, you might get mid-episode ads. It's extremely annoying. But Bilibili is different. While a membership might be required, there are no ads, which is a huge relief. Thus, Bilibili's official account was flooded with supportive comments. Bilibili rules. LittlePepper.jpg. To draw traffic to Bilibili, they even organized a stage play and had the actors attend the launch event. Ren's progress didn't slow down because of the success of a Tokusatsu series. As the Tokusatsu series' popularity soared, Ren's new manga was released. In major bookstores, piles of new issues of Iragi Shrine awaited readers. Today, the porter's new work would debut in this magazine, and based on what the porter said after finishing Cooking Master Boy, it's apparently another culinary series. This excited many readers because May had become fans of the porter through Cooking Master Boy. They anticipated another great culinary series. Thus, long lines formed at many locations as people waited to purchase the new issue. They then saw the cover featuring a boy in a suit holding a tray and wearing an eye patch. This time, it's not just Chinese cuisine. It seems there's Western cuisine too. Seeing the outfit, Many grew excited. Would it be a showdown between Chinese and Western dishes, showing Chinese cuisine easily beating Western dishes? This thought made them thrilled. Unseo, a reader captivated by Ren's works and hooked on Cooking Master Boy, dragged her best friend Claire to the bookstore to buy the new issue. Before reaching the bookstore, Unseo couldn't help but ask Claire. After all, her best friend is one of Ren's assistants. She must know about the new series. Is this culinary manga good? How should I put it? Claire's face showed a complex expression. It's not about whether it's good or bad. This culinary series is very unique. Let me tell you, it's about. Claire knew the plot of this so-called culinary series. Calling it a culinary series wasn't wrong since the manga did involve eating. But the food in it might not be so friendly for humans. So, Claire wanted to give her best friend a heads up about the plot. Unseo didn't notice Claire's subtle expression and waved her hand before Claire could reveal the truth. Just tell me if it's good. No spoilers. I hate spoilers. It's pretty good. Claire nodded. Though she wasn't fond of this genre, she believed it would be a hit among fans of action series. Really? That's great. Unseo nodded, satisfied. Even though her best friend is an assistant, she never asks about the plot in advance, as knowing it would spoil the surprise. Then she changed the topic. You know, Ren is amazing. Many boys in our class talk about Ultraman all day, and kids downstairs keep striking Ultraman poses and playing Ultraman games. Ah, that must be genius, Claire said subtly. Yes, geniuses often have quirks, like trolling their fans. Chapter 100, Mom's Cooking, 2-1. In a certain residential area, Hanley heated up a plate of braised ribs and prepared a dish of pig's head meat. He brought them to the table, ready to enjoy his meal while reading the porter's new culinary manga. This had become his habit. He still remembered the hunger pangs brought on by Cooking Master Boy. Although the porter's tokusatsu was excellent, as a reader, he still preferred manga. Hanley, who had loved culinary manga since he was a child, became an avid fan of the porter when Cooking Master Boy was released. Watching those glowing dishes and imaginative recipes, he became a die-hard fan. He even memorized the recipes and tried making some himself. There were many others like him. As the group leader, he even created a chat group named Foodie Squad. Previously, they had organized a campaign to leave comments on the porter's Weibo, urging him to focus on culinary manga instead of being a scriptwriter. Although they later admitted that Ultraman was great, their preference was clear. Fortunately, after Ultraman, the porter promised a new culinary manga, Tokyo Ghoul. Hanley looked at the title. Ghoul, a character combining mouth and food, clearly related to eating. He figured ghoul meant some kind of food-eating tribe. With anticipation, Hanley opened the manga. The opening scene showed a bustling cityscape. CCG headquarters contacting Unit 203, received a report of illegal entry at Akihabara Tower. He chuckled at the pun. Akihabara sounded like eat and drink, indicating a food tower. Next, a half-face of a woman appeared, her finger near her lips, liquid on her face, or perhaps tomato sauce or soup. This is definitely a culinary manga. The porter never disappoints. Hanley smiled. Duang. His smile faded as a bloodied face suddenly appeared. Someone looked like they had been violently attacked, covered in blood. Hanley's smile disappeared. He felt a bad premonition. He moved his eyes further. A woman knelt among a pile of corpses, drinking their blood, murmuring in delight, "So delicious." From those lips, Hanley recognized that this was the same woman he thought was enjoying food earlier. So, she wasn't eating food, but people. Whoa. Hanley couldn't help but curse. Where was the promised culinary manga? How did it turn into cannibalism? Though the woman said it was delicious, this wasn't the culinary story he expected. Wait, maybe there's a twist? Maybe the protagonist uses food to convert this monster into loving real food? Hanley clung to hope, wishing for a proper culinary story. After the fight between the woman called Big Eater and another monster, the scene shifted to a more heartwarming one. Hanley sighed in relief and continued reading. A college student named Kanki fell for a beautiful woman named Rise at a cafe copyright called Antique. They bonded over their shared interest in books and decided to go on a bookstore date. Could this woman be the same flesh-eating monster from earlier? Seeing Rise, Hanley suspected because of their similar outlines. Yet, looking at Rise's cleavage, he couldn't help but smile with a LSP expression, even if she was a monster. He had to admit, if the porter drew adult manga, they would be very popular. The realism was uncanny, almost like real life. He almost felt compelled to show his respect. As they parted, Rise revealed her true form and severely injured Kanki. Just as she was about to devour him, falling steel beams crushed her. Severe abdominal rupture. Emergency measures needed. Prepare for organ transplant. Kanki appeared submerged in deep water, with doctors' voices narrating. Then Rise appeared, her naked body gradually approaching Kanki. Though the important parts weren't fully drawn, the glimpses of her body made Hanley widen his eyes. What was this? The porter had truly let loose. However, this tantalizing scene was brief, quickly shifting back to Kanki's story. Post-surgery, Kanki initially didn't notice any changes but soon lost interest in food. Even his favorite dishes made him nauseous. As Kanki questioned his life, a TV broadcast caught his attention. The news spoke of ghouls who could only obtain nutrients from human bodies, finding human food disgusting. This made Kanki's face twist in disbelief. That's exactly how he felt. He rushed to the food his friend brought and tried to eat. Every bite made him run to the bathroom to vomit. Finally, he realized he had turned into a ghoul. Walking down the street, the smell of humans aroused his uncontrollable cravings. What kind of cravings? Hunger, of course. One night, Kanki decided to hunt. He suddenly smelled something delicious. This aroma. It's my first time smelling it, yet it feels nostalgic. It's like the gentle scent of my mom's cooking. Although Kanki described it as delicious, Hanley suspected what the scent really was. He still held hope. Maybe it was human food that ghouls could eat, leading Kanki to become a ghoul chef. But this was mere hope. Like Kyubi giving magical girls hope, the porter gave readers hope only to plunge them into despair. Kanki wasn't smelling human food but ghoul food. Humans. How will I ever look at my mom's cooking the same way again? Damn you, author. Hanley's sadness was beyond words. Where was the promised culinary manga? There was food, but, feeling deceived, Hanley took out his phone and checked his chat group. User tongue out white-eyed high smoke. Brothers, we got tricked by this dog. Author. User housekeeper looking for a plumber. But I have to admit, when I saw Rise's body, my hand automatically went under the table. I've watched countless films, but this manga made me kneel. User cute little pine tree. There are girls in this group. User porter grandpa go away. But I'm curious about the plot. What will happen to Kanki next? After finishing this issue of the manga, readers started discussing it in the group. Some debated the storyline, others complained it wasn't a proper culinary manga, but most were upset about being tricked by the author. Guys, I have a suggestion. Let's flood DoozyNet and the Porter's Weibo with positive reviews. We got tricked into reading it, so let's share the love with others. Hanley typed in the group chat. The others agreed with Hanley's proposal. They had been tricked, so why warn others? It's better if everyone got tricked together. So, they quickly went to DoozyNet and the Porter's Weibo to post positive reviews. Since this issue had just been released, there weren't many comments and ratings yet. As a result, DoozyNet's score for the manga quickly rose to 9.1. with mostly 4 and 5-star reviews. This is the best and the most unique culinary manga I've ever read. The food inside is even more unimaginable than in Cooking Master Boy, and the female characters are so well drawn. I love Rise. NakedRise.jpg. This review was accompanied by several screenshots of Rise, including one with her finger on her lips and another hugging Kanki. Normally, such reviews would be ignored, but this one quickly gained traction. User Squid, yeah, made me super hungry. User I'm not a foodie, I read it too. The first chapter had extremely delicious food. User Landlord Pepper, missing this culinary manga is the biggest loss for any culinary manga fan. Consequently, more curious readers were lured into buying the new issue of Tokyo Ghoul. One by one, these food lovers experienced the same disappointment, but they chose to stay silent and upvote the review. Thus, another wave of deceived readers bought the manga. This cycle continued, each layer deceiving the next. The tricked readers felt that they shouldn't be the only ones deceived, so they posted positive reviews, leading more curious readers to buy the manga. This increased both sales and DoosieNet's ratings. 3 days later, the truth finally came out. User Han Sanshai, we've come this far, so I need to be honest. This is actually a grotesque culinary manga. User Pit Sanshai, whoa, finally someone says it. User Porter has no skills, ha. It feels great watching more people get tricked. The comments section exploded when the truth was revealed. The tricksters were amused, while the tricked were furious, cursing Hanley. Ren, however, laughed heartily as he read the comments on his phone. This world's manga readers were so adorable. In his past life, he would have been cursed out immediately, but not here. Instead, sales soared. In fact, the grotesque culinary manga label even attracted fans of that genre. DoosieNet's rating for the manga climbed to an impressive 8.8. This issue's sales were 10% higher than the last. But aside from sales, there was something even more important. In the studio, Claire was busy drawing when Ren suddenly approached her. Claire, starting tomorrow, you don't need to come in, Ren said suddenly, making Claire freeze. Panic appeared on her face, and she stuttered, Teacher, did I do something wrong? She quickly recalled everything she had drawn recently. There shouldn't be any problems. Was it because she was late this morning? But that was beyond her control. The bus broke down, and she had already explained it to the teacher. Yeah, teacher, if Claire did something wrong, tell her. Don't just send her away, Jazz said worriedly. They all liked this young girl. She was eager to learn, motivated, and sometimes helped with unfinished tasks. But she has to take the college entrance exam, Ren said, waving his hand. It's already mid-May, and the exam is at the end of June. I've told her before to go home and study, but she kept saying it's not urgent. Now, with only a month left, she needs to study at home. Although Claire had great talent in drawing, Ren didn't want to hinder her education. Even though it seemed like college graduates were everywhere, a degree was still very important in this society. Ren didn't overly emphasize or dismiss the importance of a degree. Having a degree made many things easier. For instance, when applying to big companies, a lack of a degree would cause your resume to be filtered out before the HR even saw it. Or, for government jobs, leaving aside connections, the job requirements often called for graduate or doctoral degrees. At minimum, you needed an associate degree. After hearing Ren's words, Jazz and the others realized and agreed. The teacher's right, Claire. You need to study. I regret not studying well back then. Otherwise, I might be in an office building now.